Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 490. 490. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer. Okay, I've made a mistake. So for people watching the video version, they're not going to know this, but my backup version has 2 crashes.
Wow.
I love that.
So, yeah.
How many fixes does it have?
I'm going to tell you one, just one.
Right.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not changing the backup. If we have to use the backup this week, there's going to be 2 crashes. Alongside the one and only 2 fresh crash. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Can you count numbers?
Fantastic.
Can you count numbers?
I can count numbers.
So why the hell
seem
do you
a little aggressive right now.
Why did you just count to 291, huh?
Oh, I thought it was 291. That's my bad. That was a complete accident. Not intended at all.
Sure. And of course, the one only Mr. Paul D. Spawn. How are you?
I'm good. Should I be recording this? I thought we were just using your backup this week.
No, we're not using my backup this week. You better be recorded. It's so off-putting because I use this monitor to like watch us, and I can just see 2 crashes. So it's very, 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 very strange.
Just change the damn thing.
Maybe when you talk. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast, right here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me and all podcast services. Do you know what else I've just noticed?
Go on.
On the backup.
No audio?
There's no audio on the backup.
Well, no backup this week, guys. I hope it all goes well.
I've changed that. Now we have audio. If you missed the beginning of the show, don't worry about it. You didn't need to know, all right? You didn't need to know. Oh, mate, that's actually hilarious. Anyways, if you want to get the show early, patreon.com/mcfix. If you want to support the show there, blah, 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 blah. Topic of the show this week, boys, is that time of the year once again. The Keeleys are around. The Game Awards has come around again. The nominees have just dropped as of yesterday of recording this, I believe. And yeah, before we get into it, we're going to do our usual thing where we as a team, we do our votes, which I think is always a bit of fun. But what again, I don't want to give too much away towards the end, but like initial thoughts on the Keeleys this year, the Game Awards this year. Are you excited? Are you whatever? Where'd you come down on it, Crash?
I'm kind of whatever as of right now. I don't think I'm super excited for them. I think generally the Game of the Year stuff gets more exciting the closer you get to the actual event. I will say there was nothing in any of these categories that was there was no seafood this year, you know.
Oh, so there's nothing that makes you angry.
Yeah.
Weird. There's definitely something that makes me goddamn angry, but we'll get to that later. That's fine. D-Spawn, what about yourself? How are you feeling this year about the Keeleys?
I mean, I'm always excited for them. But yeah, this year feels like, man, the internet is a slog sometimes, right? Just to discuss around, especially Game of the Year, which we'll get to at the end, but like in general, just people like reacting or overreacting to stuff is it's a lot. It's a lot.
As a man who's made a career on reacting and overreacting to things, yeah, I kind of disagree. I am glad people are upset. I like it when the industry has something to say. I feel like we haven't had much to say for a while, so I'm kind of happy he's done this. I'll be honest. We'll get to it at the end, but I'm glad there's some chatter out there. You know, this isn't negative for negative sake. I feel like this is, and maybe it's just the Discord that I'm seeing, right? Like it's not negative for negative sake. It's a decent conversation to be had on a topic that I think even us on this podcast have last year had this conversation. So we'll get to it. Hold your thoughts and stuff, Chris, but we'll get to it. I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, D-Spawn, are you ready to go through this one by one?
Yeah.
And we're gonna do start at the end, right? We're gonna start at the best esports and work our way backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Quick question for time codes.
Yep.
Do you want me to time code each category or just one?
Yeah, if you can, but don't bother with the esports stuff.
Got it. Okay.
That bitch is an esports chunk.
I very doubt we'll need a clip from the esports stuff. I don't think we'll have much to say. No. But starting off, we have best esports team. Recognized a specific esports team, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2024. We have got Bill Gaming.
Billy
Is that how they
Gaming.
say? Billy Gaming. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Billy Gaming, Gen G, Navy, T1, and Team Liquid. Considering I only know one of these teams, Crash, take a guess. What one do you think it is?
Team Liquid.
That is correct. That is the only one on here that I have ever heard of. And that's not because of their Dota 2 team. I'm sure they have a team in something else that I've heard of.
They're probably one of the more popular esports teams in the West, I feel like.
That makes sense. Who are we voting for? Despawn. Despawn. You've watched it. We've watched some stuff this year, right?
I've been watching some stuff. Yeah, I can say that I actually know 3 of these teams. So I know Billy, Gen G, and Team Liquid. Unfortunately, I don't know any of these teams for any of the games that they're nominated for. I know them all as Valorant teams. So yeah, I know Billy, Gen G, and Team Liquid all have a Valorant team as well. But yeah, they've been nominated for League of Legends, Counter-Strike, or Dota 2.
Yep.
None of the games that I watch.
So, Crash, who are we voting for?
T1.
You'll go for
T1?
T1?
T1 is my vote. Yeah.
I'll give it to you. I honestly don't have a clue about any of these categories, as you fully well know. So T1 it is. T1 gets the vote. Congratulations to T1. You have won my Xbox and me's. My Xbox and
Very
me's,
prestigious.
Very prestigious game awards. All right,
Congrats.
next up we have Best Esport Athlete. The esports athlete judged on the most outstanding performance. We have 33. We have Alexib. Alexib, I'm gonna go with that. Chewy, Faker, Choey, sorry. Faker, Ziwu, and Zimjeek.
Yeah,
Don't know how you say that, mate. I'm not. Sorry. I'm sorry for ruining your name there. Obviously, we're voting for the one and only Faker. 100% has to be done. Yeah, so it's not even a
Faker on T1. Fun fact.
Faker on T1. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Hey,
you do
learn
know
something
Tim.
new every day. Hey, I knew Faker. I know that. And the only reason I know is because the worlds were at the O2, right? So the big clip was everyone sharing Faker's not die. You can't kill Faker moment. So congrats to Faker. He's on my radar. Congrats.
Nice. Yeah, I do know, again, just from my Valorant watching, I know, again, I'm going to murder it, Zimjeek. Good player, like really good. Like, I mean, they're all.
I think they're all good
league.
players.
I'm gonna say, yeah, at that level, they're all good. But you know, like some of the movements he was pulling out in the Masters was just phenomenal.
Okay. Yeah. Next up, best esports game. For the best game that's delivered the best overall esports to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content, irrespective of genre or platform. We have Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, and Valorant. Bang Bang.
My vote's for Valorant, obviously. I think
I haven't watched any esports this year, so I will go with you because you have watched esports this year.
Yeah, I think the presentation, especially for the recent ones that have been going on with the game changers as well, they've been doing a load of work at the moment around it. The presentation's been fantastic. Getting the community involved has been great, and yeah, like the recent finals were fantastic as well. So yeah, like again, I can only say because I've watched that. I haven't watched any of the others, but I've really enjoyed it, and I think they've done a really good job with it.
Crash, if you did get to decide this, what would it be?
I would vote League, but I've only watched the Worlds for League, and Despawn's watched more Valorant in general, so I'm safe to say Valorant and go.
Oh, don't worry, you
Despawns.
lost anyway because I voted for Valo, so you don't get.
I figured.
That's fine. I was asking out of politeness, you know how it is. Next up, we have Content Creator of the Year for a streamer or content creator who has made an impact and positive impact on the community in 2024. We have got Queso, Iloquan, Techo Games, Typical Gamer, and Usada Picora. I hope I said that correctly. I would vote for Faker, and I'm going to not Faker, sorry, Queso. And the reason I would vote for Queso is because he makes fat jokes about himself, and he's hilarious. Every clip I see of Queso is hilarious.
Yeah, he's also very on the positive side. Every time I see a clip of him, he's overly positive, really.
Yeah,
and if he's ever a negative, it's more so as a joke and a bit, never really angry or something like that. So I think I'd go there. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything from any of these other people as well. I think that's one thing to say.
Me either. I agree, but that's who gets my vote for this one. Definitely.
That's fair.
Next up, here we go. Now we start getting into some categories that we can actually have some real opinions on if we're being totally honest. Most anticipated game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrated.
Demonstrably.
Thank you. That's not a word I'm using in my vocabulary. I have to be totally honest. Demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming media forward. Okay. Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. There's only one vote if we're basing this off of this is going to drop next year. There is only one vote, and
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Monster Hunter Wilds, yes, you know. But to even put these other games in the same category is totally unfair for pushing the medium forward. I love a lot of I'm excited for a lot of the games here, but only one game is going to push the games media forward in a transcending way.
Yeah, I dislike the added bit of pushing the gaming medium forward.
I agree.
I don't think most anticipated game always is the most pushes
Absolutely.
gaming the most. So I think it's kind of a weird one.
But we all in agreement here, GTA 6, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like,
I think I might have said GTA 5, by the way. But I meant GTA 6 if I didn't say it correctly.
I'll allow it.
All right, GTA 6 it is. What's the odds? What's the odds on that coming out next year?
30, 70.
Yeah,
70,
I think
30.
I'm a 60-40 right now.
60,
I'm very
40,
I'm very much like it's possible, but there's a big chance that it doesn't.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm more leaning to it coming. I feel like I don't know. If anyone could turn up on time, it's going to be Rockstar. Not that they have to.
And they never do either, by the way. They usually delay. So fair. Just putting that out there. Best adaptation, we have got recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. We have Arcane, we have Fallout, we have Knuckles, we have Like a Dragon Yakuza, and we have Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. I have only seen 2 of these. Kresh, what are the 2 I've seen?
You've seen Fallout.
Yep.
Ooh, the second one's Like a Dragon.
No, Despawn. What are the 2 I've seen?
I think Fallout and Arcane.
Wrong.
Okay.
The 2
Knuckles.
I've seen is Fallout and Tomb Raider, the Legend of Lara Croft.
Yeah. This one's a hard one for me because I think, weirdly, this has been a really good year for adaptations. Like all
I
of
can only
these,
talk on 2 of them is my issue.
I can talk on. Well, I've watched 2, but I've seen the reactions.
Well, there you go. You only watched 2.
How was Tomb Raider fix?
It's a very faithful and authentic adaptation of what I expected from it. It's not very good. No, I don't really enjoy it. To be honest with you, I watched 2 episodes on a train ride home from a UB stream to just give it a go. Because again, remember we were going to do the rank and every. We are going to do rank and every, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this will pop up. Let me just watch a couple of episodes. They're only like half an hour long, I believe. It's not bad, but it didn't do it for me.
Confirmed for season 2.
Yeah, already? Well, that don't mean nothing, does it? It's Netflix. Everything gets a season 2.
And then gets cancelled, midway through
exactly.
a really big plot point.
Did season 1 of Arcane come out this year?
No, last year, right?
Not
last year. This is season 2. I know
season 2 is out. Yeah,
I was going to watch this because it's like I've been trying to get more into my animes, as you both know. And I was like, oh, I've heard good things about this. I might watch this, and then I was like, actually, I think Haley might enjoy this, so we're going to watch it together instead.
I can almost guarantee from watching season 1, you are going to love this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. But I think Fallout's the only answer, right?
Fallout is the it's
okay.
For a live action adaptation, it's like one of the best I've seen for like video game to TV or movie or any medium like that. I think Fallout's up there. There's like
100%. For what this category is asking for, is it nails it perfectly. Whether or not you like the show, I don't think is up for debate here. I think if you're asking about a adaptation in terms of like hearing a sound and it making sense in the world, seeing certain items and it making sense in the world, and things like that. It's like, yes, this is 100% Fallout for me.
I mean, it's the two words I hear are faithfully and authentically. And it's
Agreed.
like, there is a scene at the beginning of Fallout where they use a stim pack that sounds like a stim pack and just works like a stim pack where they instantly heals them. And it's like, if that's not faithfully and authentically adapting it, then I don't know what is. Oh, and also power armor.
Yeah.
Love that power armor. Yeah, no, Fallout for me.
Crash?
Yeah, I'm fine with Fallout. I think it's a tie between Fallout and Arcane for me, and I think you could go with either.
Yeah,
I think either are like a good choice.
This was a week we needed Matt, I'll be honest, because it feels like one of those weeks where we could get a 2v2 and someone changes their mind. Unfortunately, I think you're gonna get done over on this one this week, Chris. I've got to be honest, but
I think so, yeah, which is fine. It happens.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Unfortunately, yeah, let's go Fallout for this one. Despawn, 100%. Next up, best multiplayer game for outstanding online multiplayer game and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game or game genre or platform. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Hard one. I think I would, if you don't mind me going first, boys, I think I would go Helldivers 2, actually. I think it was a moment for me. Go on.
I think I wouldn't go Helldivers 2 just because that was really strong in the beginning and then it fizzled out.
Do you know what I think impresses me the most about Helldivers 2?
Cool.
And probably unfair brownie points. It wasn't broken. It launched and it worked. And like, with a game of that size and magnitude that then had an influx of players that probably I wasn't necessarily expecting, I don't remember ever having a single issue. Not to say I played 3 of the 5 games here. Not that I remember. There's one.
There was definitely server issues.
Historically, there was like
queued
first 2
times
weeks
and stuff like that. Yeah.
They artificially limited the access for a point because it was that bad.
Interesting.
But again, that would have been because of So yeah, there was issues right at the beginning, but the experience itself when you get in there was great. I want to take points away, but it's not their fault. But the way that Sony have handled it recently and the experience around the PSN requirements and removing access to like 60%.
Not what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but again,
we're talking about the experience of the multiplayer. That's a whole different ball game, in my opinion.
But it does affect the online multiplayer if you can't play with half your friends around the world.
I disagree with you on this one. Like, I get what you're saying, and
but then we have to like hold that criteria for everything. And we're talking about Call of Duty, and you have to sign into Activision. Are we going to start holding that against Call of Duty?
Yeah, if Activision is not available like 80% of places around the world, but it wasn't a launch and then they removed it.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I do. I get what you're saying.
Also, taking it out of the mat, I'm going to say, just to take that out of the equation, I still prefer Call of Duty.
Sure. No. And that is a perfectly fine opinion. But I think if we're going to do that, we're now going to have to magnify and glass everything. And I don't think that's fair. Let's just enjoy the Game Awards for what it is. Let's try and take out politics and this, that, and the other. And, you know, I think we just enjoy the game as like the game medium and take it for that.
Okay.
For me, maybe people disagree. And if you do, email it, myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. But just for this, based on the game experience that you could have, not anybody else.
Okay.
What is your opinion? Do you think that's fair? I mean, sometimes we get a little. I think sometimes we just get in the mud a little bit too much lately.
That's fair.
It's very. And I'm not saying you, by the way, Despawn. I'm talking about just in general. I feel it feels like we're rolling the mud a lot lately. It's always a bit. That was amazing, but FJK Rowling, I'm sick of it at this point. You know.
Right.
If you disagree, talk to me. I'm always open to. Do you know what I mean, Chris?
I think it's fair, and here's here's the reason I think it's fair. It's because it's the Game Awards. It's a celebration for the games, and the whole PSN situation, and a lot of those situations are outside of the game that's made and developers.
Yeah, the people who made that game did not have a say on what PlayStation and a bunch of corporate heads were doing.
True. And you know what? I'm totally fine with agreeing with you on that one. That's fine.
I won. Yeah.
But I'll still pick Call of Duty.
Okay, that's fine. I understand.
Yeah. For your, I'll go just quickly before for your exact reasons you said at the beginning there, it wasn't broken at launch. You could get into Call of Duty. There was tons of maps, tons of modes. The single player campaign was arguably one of the best.
This is the best multiplayer game.
Cut that out.
Best multiplayer game.
Cut.
Because of that, I think.
Yeah. But also, I think
Helldivers 2 as well.
Okay.
I just think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the fun I had with Helldivers 2 the week it launched eclipses all the fun I had with zombies. And I had a lot of fun with zombies, and I really enjoyed zombies. But I think Helldivers 2 was just such a fun, unique, and new experience that I don't think any of the other games on this list gave me.
I haven't even played Super Mario Party yet. Let's be
that's
realistic.
Crazy.
I know that's
that's crazy. Actually, because you've been so excited.
Well, no, to be fair, I say I haven't played it. I played it at the event I went to, but I haven't played it at home, like on my couch yet, which is very heartbreaking. But yeah, we're going to go Helldivers 2 on this one. Chris, you won one.
Finally, let's go.
Congrats.
Say when you're winning.
Best sport. Sorry, my internet's moving really slow. Best sport/racing game for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. This is
all year.
We have got F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, WWE 2K24. We'll do this again, shall we? How many of these games do you think I've played?
3.
Okay.
It's between 3 and 4. I don't know if Fix played F1 this year. I'm going to say no, so I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3.
4. I played 4 games of these.
You played F1.
I didn't play F1. That's the only one I've not played.
You played Top Spin.
I played Top Spin, yes.
Oh.
Stream Top Spin. I had you stream Top Spin.
Hey,
yeah.
Oh, all right.
Can't give it to Top Spin because I couldn't even log in on my Xbox account.
Nope.
Because my 2K account was my whole email, but .com instead of .co.uk. It wouldn't let me change it. I put in a support ticket. I'm still waiting to hear back. So had to then play it on PC. Again, an issue that I had. Can't give it to NBA 2K. Though it might be the best basketball game ever to exist, they still haven't put a decent story mode in, and it ruins the entire experience, and I do not enjoy it. This is the least NBA I've played this ever.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You guys, I was streaming it. I was streaming it regularly. I was out there, I was doing my thing. So I can't give it to WWE 2K24.
Because it was broken.
Because it was broken, as we all know. We played it. You guys forgetting we played this?
Yeah.
We did. Actually, we did. I forgot.
You forgot.
Well, I'm just going to put this out there. My vote has to be WWE. I played WWE.
Yeah, that's
Despawn's vote has to be WWE. He played the WWE.
No. I'll just not vote on this category.
You can defer. That's fine. And I have to give it to EAFC. Even though that game was a broken mess as well, and it still is a broken mess. But it is the most fun I've had with a game of these games. I'm obviously doing FIFA Fridays over on my channel. Brings me and the community together. I'm playing with the guys over at Ice Cream. Shout out Bibby, and we're just having a great time with it. Each week, I'm pretending to be the captain. He's pretending to be the manager. Well, if I turn up late, he finds me a sub as a wages and stuff like that. He's not here this week, so he has to pay me a sub this week because he's missing the game. I'm just having a ton of fun with it. Is it the best game on this list? Probably not, if I'm being honest with you. But it's the most fun I've had with these games. So if I am voting, I have to give it to EAFC. Crash, if you want to go WWE, which I respect, I will make Despawn have a vote and he can pick something.
No. I was doing that just to mess with you.
So
for me, it has to be EAFC, unfortunately. And again, by the way, that game's still a broken mess. Don't buy it. I'm just saying.
Basically, what we're hearing is don't buy any of these games because they're either broken mess or just bad.
I'm sure they're fixed now, but EAFC still isn't.
Okay.
It still has issues. So, yeah. Next up, best sim/strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulations, or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. We have Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kinshi
Do you want me to do this one for you?
Path of the Goddess. Good.
So
yep,
close.
Yep.
Kunitsugami.
Oh, I was never Kun. Man, do you know what I need to do? I got to sit down and learn how to like phonetically say Japanese words better.
Yeah,
No?
you struggle sometimes.
Yeah, bro, I can't speak
but
English.
that, that's part of the charm.
That is part of the charm, yeah.
Is it though? Did you?
I don't know.
I missed
I'm
it. I tweeted today. I tweeted yesterday saying something. They and didn't spell they right, and your and didn't spell your right, and some guys put a whole thing of like go back to school, and I just wanted to tweet him something really mean. I didn't. That's a lie. I did, and then I deleted it. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, is it the charm? Email it. Is it the charm, or do you listen to it and cringe? I'm interested because I'm interested if I should just barrel through it, or I should just be like Despawn, take this at this point. Let me know. Next up,
I'm gonna say, don't give it to me. I can't read.
Yeah, you've been doing a great job. Manor Lords and Unicorn Overlord. I feel
Crash,
like I'll start with you. If
I'm
you
gonna
can, please, Crash.
I feel like this is a Crash episode.
Right?
Age of Mythology Retold.
Yeah.
Did you play
that
it?
answer is 100%, but I didn't play any of these games.
Okay.
Tough luck,
Yeah. I mean, I just want to do the me, my indie darling loving. I just give it to Manor Lords because it's a tiny developer and everyone seemed to love it.
Manor Lords got Frostpunk 2 and Manor Lords realistically are probably the actual two we should choose.
Yeah,
which is fair.
Nothing good. Nothing.
My answer was all
Frostpunk.
Biased. My answer was like, let me let you know. My answer was 100% biased.
I back the homie, so I'm gonna pick Age of Mythology Retold.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I always back the homie, so yeah, that's what gets it. Next up, we have Best Family Game, the best game appropriate for families to play, irrespective of genre or platform. We have got Astro Bot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. Anyone got an opinion?
Yeah, I got an opinion.
Go
ahead.
Well, my opinion is very much on the usual case of I've played one of these games, and it's probably the game that's going to win. To be fair, which is Astro Bot. And that game is just nostalgia and fun, and just a well-made platformer.
I haven't played Astro Bot.
Okay.
My vote is for Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Okay.
But I just want to put this out there. I think for best family game, having a whole bunch of single player games is a little weird because I don't view personally single player games as family games.
Astro Bot I can see because I think about it, if you're a kid of a person of like my age right now, right, and you've got a 5-year-old playing Astro Bot, and you're a dad watching your kid play this, and maybe they've fallen out of like gaming, and then they're like, wait, is that Cloud? Wait, is that? Insert this, insert this, insert this, insert this. I think you can have I think it's one of those games where like it could be like a gateway drug back into gaming for an adult, and it can be like a shared moment between you and your kid of like, Daddy used to play that game before he looked that good, and he's like, shut up, Dad, I'm playing with Astro Bot. But
that's fair.
I don't know. I'm my vote goes for Astro Bot. I think Astro Bot will win this, but I also think Zelda will be very close. I have to say, because I've heard very good things about Zelda.
I've heard good things too. I kind of feel like when we talk about best family, I feel like this is more just their way of saying there's like best, family friendly, rather than it being a game that the family can play together.
But that's not what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that's fair.
But I'm looking at the results here.
I also want to point out the explanation the Fix gave for Astro Bot is you could apply that same argument partly to Resident Evil. Fix, which Resident Evil is it you played with your grandpa?
My granddad's?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2,
Technically that applies to it because it was a family game.
Yeah, no,
but I'm fine with Astro Bot. Us picking Astro Bot.
Like again,
because what you said made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it made complete sense. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the way I think of it is very much like, while we're saying like the way that it reads is very much like the game you play with your family, or it's a a multiplayer game that's suitable for all ages. But then you look at this, and 4 of the 5 games are single player games. So like people are obviously looking at this and going, "Oh, the family friendly games, not the which games can families play together."
Again, I would like to repeat what I'm about to read to you.
Go on.
For the best game appropriate for the family play, irrespective of genre or platform, we cannot put in our version of what the Game Awards are. The Game Awards have criteria. They give us criteria to vote on. That is what we have to vote on for this. It can't be the way we experience it, the way we've interpreted it. No, Jeff Keighley has said what he said, and it says it right there on the screen.
So it's Super Mario Jamboree.
I mean, Crash, let's be realistic. If we're actually giving it to like best family game, it should be Jamboree, 100%. But we're voting for Astro Bot Despawn, please.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, also like
I love that fixing that whole thing just to go back to Astro Bot.
Also, Super Mario Party definitely splits up families. We all know this.
They got new rules.
That's actually not incorrect. That's why they added the little cart where everybody rides together in that one, and that was a horrible game.
That was 10. Yeah, that was awful. That was awful. No, it weren't 10. That was 11.
They did it for, I think, 1 or 2 of them. There was multiple ones where you travel together.
There was one that the whole game was like, and there was one that was a mode like it. But
I don't recall which is which. I think 10 is the one. It might be 9.
No, it's not 10. It's not 10. Because I know what 10. Maybe it is 10. It doesn't matter. We're not.
So Astro Bot, yeah.
Podcast. Who cares? Astro Bot. All right. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Best fighting game. Chris, this is for you, baby.
Sifu.
For the.
Why you gotta do that?
For the best game designs primarily around head-to-head combat, we have got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Granblue Fantasy vs Rising, Marvel vs Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses, and Tekken 8.
There's only one acceptable answer in this whole list, and that's Tekken 8.
That is Multiverses. I agree.
Yeah, Multiverses it is.
How much Multiverses have you played, Fix?
1 second, I'll check, because I think it's going to hit my top 10. Remember, I was in on that game for a bit.
Oh, yeah, you were. I forgot about that.
I think you're forgetting.
I did.
That I was in on this game for a bit, brother. Don't disrespect me.
You were, yeah. I completely forgot.
Don't disrespect me, yeah?
That is 100% on me. I disrespected you. It will not happen again.
I will.
I just spilled my Red Bull.
I will also say that this category might be the one that I've played the most games in so far. Ironically, in very small doses.
How many of these games?
How many hours do you think I got?
Go on.
No, go on. What do you reckon?
20. I feel like you're a good 25 hours because you were grinding those dailies for a bit.
I think. You got to remember, I played it cross-play. I crossed both Xbox and PlayStation. I can't check the Xbox numbers. I have 10 hours on Steam.
Okay.
I don't know how many hours I have on Xbox. So just putting that out there.
You can check on the mobile app if you look at the stats.
I'm not a nerd. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
That's going to show 1 hour, and Fix going to be I played more than an hour.
But yeah, so
Shut up, Crash. Go on, Despawn.
I'm going to say I've briefly played 3 of these games. So obviously Dragon Ball Sparking Zero I tried at Gamescom. So I got a couple of matches in there. Tekken 8 I tried at WASD when that showed up the first year that it was there. So, 2 years ago. So I had a few matches of that.
That don't count.
Yeah,
we're talking about. No, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
These are games you played at home.
All right, then Multiverses.
Yeah.
And even that was just a beta. So yeah, Crash is
the
winner.
Tekken 8's the winner. We're not.
No,
I'm gonna pull veto power on this one. Tekken 8's the winner.
You gotta remember, it's a 2v2. Multiverses was a 2v2 game, and you guys didn't let me play. You're too busy playing with each other. Phrasing.
High five, Chris.
No, I don't want to be in the middle of a high five.
You are. You got to be there now. You brought it up.
I hate it here. Yeah, take it.
All right. Fair enough. Next up, best RPG.
Ooh.
This is a really tough list, to be 100% honest. I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna vote for this game, but if we're going off of just best RPG and we're looking at RPG mechanics, Dragon's Dogma. But I think like overall game is not the best RPG this year.
Really?
Can I read them?
Oh, I got
You got excited. You got
carrot
excited.
ahead of the horse. I was focused on the carrot, and I realized.
There's a stick involved first.
Yeah. Go fix.
Okay,
That's my
cool.
bad. That's my best.
Best RPG for best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experience. Don't know why that is included, but sure. Dragon Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Re Fantasio.
For
Carry on,
me,
Crash.
go on. Yeah, Crash, lead the charge.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2, best RPG mechanics out of all these games, I think. Worst RPG game out of all these games at the same time. Yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to say. I think any of the other 4 games could realistically win, and I'd kind of be fine with it. Specifically 3, I don't think Shadow of the Erdtree is better than the other 3 games, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, go on.
It's between 2, right?
Yeah, it's between. It's probably one that should have been in Game of the Year and the one that is. For me, just the RPG that I had the most fun with and is still going to be like a conversation for a while is going to be Like a Dragon for me. I feel again, we're talking RPG systems. I feel that their job system that they had in there was fantastic for learning new skills. The grind never felt like an actual grind. I always felt like I was progressing. The RPG story mechanics in there were just fantastic. And it's like, to this point, right now this year, it's like one of the best RPG experiences I've had.
Yeah. I need to, for best design with rich player customization, progression. Yeah, I think I have to give it Like a Dragon as well. If I'm basing it off of the category and what he's put in front of us, I think I have to give it to Like a Dragon. But I think yes. Based on those that criteria, it has to be Like a Dragon. Like it has the most rich character customization and progression out of any of these games that I've played.
You'd say it has more character customization than Final Fantasy?
Yes.
Interesting.
I feel like I am shaping those characters more than I'm shaping the characters of Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Infinite Wealth definitely feels like you're building the moveset that you like, you use, and
changing the jobs to jobs and building that up and leveling them up and all of that. Where, don't get me wrong, you do get a sense of that in Rebirth, but not to the same level as Infinite Wealth.
I don't feel that you do in Rebirth. Like, again, this is not a slight on Rebirth. It's the way that it's built, but it very much feels like there is an end goal to the level system, and like you unlock everything as you go. There are obviously abilities that you can mix and match between like your team ups and your characters and stuff like that. But I never felt like, not to the level that Infinite Wealth lets you do per character.
But I think the problem is with Infinite Wealth, the classes for the most part, other than the class the characters start with, are universal. So you're talking about all this customizability. It's because the game adds a whole lot of stuff that is applicable to every character. Final Fantasy doesn't do that in its skill trees. A lot of it is like, oh, here, you're leveling up this team up move with that character, and it completely changes your experience when you have those two characters on a team together. And you do kind of get that in Infinite Wealth, and I'm not gonna say that you don't, because you get the team up moves and all that stuff. You do get that progressive route, but I also do think that Final Fantasy gives you that customization in just a different flavor and style. Like, it's not absent from the game, and one doesn't do it more than the other, I would say.
Gun to my head, I pick Infinite Wealth for this.
I'm not putting it gun to your head, and I'll pick it as well.
Okay.
My vote would have been Metaphor, but it's not winning.
Yeah, I get you. Sorry.
Again, by New Year's, I might completely
Well, yeah,
change
by
my
the end of the
tune.
year, yeah, exactly. Oh, no,
Yeah.
no. By the way, this is not our list.
No.
Yeah, this is just
our
the
voting for the Game Awards.
Mhm.
This is not our list. No.
Yeah.
Next up, best action/adventure. For the best action/adventure game combined in combat with traversal and puzzle solving, we have Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Chris, we'll start with you because you probably played the least of these games.
I've only played Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, and that would win it for me. Astrobot might win it if I were to play that, so we'll see again at the end of the year or whatever.
Yeah. D-Spawn? Go, please, carry on, play around.
I was just gonna say I'm happy with like how fun. It's not one of those where you see the list and you're like, I only played that game and I don't feel like super sure in it. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is an amazing game. I'm happy with that being the only game I played on this list.
Yeah. I played 3 of these. By the end of the year, will be 4. The only one I wouldn't have played is probably Zelda, to be honest with you. Silent Hill was a great game. I really enjoyed it, but not to the same level that I enjoyed Star Wars, which is a big thing to say, actually, considering I am the survival horror guy. I do enjoy survival horror games. Star Wars, for me, again, it must have been good for me to beat it. And again, take everything I say with a pinch of salt. I work for Ubisoft, yada, yada, yada. But like, there must have been something there for me to want to beat that game. And I did beat it, and I did enjoy the story, and it told a story that was unique and different for me. Again, I do get most of my Star Wars stories through video games, so I did enjoy that a lot. But there ain't nothing on this list that beats Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown at this moment in time until I play Astrobot. That game for me, I'm not into Metroidvanias. I'm not into side-scrolling what more action adventure games, really. Platformers. None of this should do it for me. And from the minute we got codes to review this game, me and you were talking about it in the Discord early in the year, like, oh, have you got to this bit? Have you done this? Like, it's still in my top 10 of this year, definitely. Take away your opinion on people's haircuts and things like that. Like, it just I really, really do enjoy this game a lot. So yeah, happy that it's on the list, and I hope it wins. I don't think it will, though. I think Astrobot's going to clean up.
Yeah.
So for me,
nostalgia be powerful.
Yeah, nostalgia do be powerful. I mean, just to cut to the chase,
Prince of Persia's nostalgia as well, though, right?
Yeah,
just so you're aware.
But it's not PlayStation nostalgia, is what we're talking.
No, I agree. I agree.
It's also
that's a different level.
It's
of
diluted.
nostalgia.
It's also diluted nostalgia at this point of one franchise. I don't think the nostalgia for Prince of Persia is as strong as it used to be.
No, but
not
I don't
for
think,
new games.
I think you're thinking about it the wrong way, though. Like, this is a throwback to the original Prince
that's
of
fair.
Persia.
Yeah, that's fair.
2D side scrolling. Like, the throwback goes beyond what you're thinking about the PS2 game. That's not what I'm talking about. It goes beyond that. That's how much nostalgia should be.
Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much nostalgia. Maybe they went too far back. They added a little bit too much into the mix.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Too much soul, a little bit of nostalgia. Oh no, we spilled it. Oh no. Yeah, no. I mean, straight up, my vote is for Prince of Persia. But like, I've played 3 of these games, and I think they're all great. But it is very much traversal and puzzle solving, and I think Prince of Persia's Metroidvania style gameplay just felt like the best. And like you said, it is very much like in that Game of the Year conversation. That will win it, but for me, it is very much
Combat also, the combat.
The combat is phenomenal.
Prince of Persia is fantastic.
Yeah, when you pull off like a boss run and it's just like no hitting like 20 enemies, it's just like you feel like a badass. And like
I played that on hard mode on the Ubi channel, and I remember like I beat the first boss, not getting hit, and everyone in the chat was like, "This guy's a pro," and I'm like, "Damn, I am pretty good at this." And then I got destroyed afterwards. But that's not the point, all right? Because I felt good. I felt good in that moment, all right? I felt good in that moment.
I knew this game was going to be special when I played it at the Ubi booth at WASD the year before it came out, and it's like I was there for half an hour just playing it. As like, and the whole thing was just like, can I beat that first boss? And it was like, oh man, I knew that was something special right then. And yeah, like action adventure game, it's up there as one of the best on this list for sure.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so Prince of Persia it is. Next up, best action game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. We have got Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. Despawn, I'll let you go first on this one.
So again, this is that whole thing of like, what have I played? I've played 3 games in a demo. So the demo doesn't really count. I mean, it gives you a little bit of a taste. So I played the Stellar Blade demo. It was fine.
But that was a prelude of like you carry your save over and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I basically played the first chapter.
Technically.
Yeah, I played the first chapter. Wasn't for me. I was very vocal on my thoughts on Black Myth Wukong. I didn't enjoy it. The other 2 are obviously Call of Duty and Helldivers. If we're talking about just straight up action and combat, like again, when we were talking about it earlier, the fun factor of it all, Helldivers 2, dropping a bomb on just a field full of bugs and running away as the explosion sends you flying 40 feet. Nothing quite like it.
Crash?
This is a tough one. So the 3 games I've played in this category are also all very neck and neck for me for best action game, which is Helldivers, Black Ops, and Warhammer. I think I had a very similar sense of fun in all of these. With Black Ops, it was the campaign. Warhammer has those action moments that really get your adrenaline going. Helldivers obviously does as well. I think I'd give it to Helldivers because that was, like we talked about earlier, was a very unique and very, very high action experience. And those action sequences are also very, if you play them wrong, you just die. There's no like, oh, you're hurt, you get to walk away and heal. I'd give it to Helldivers too, I think, but I don't think any of the other games are very far behind from it on an action game perspective.
I think for me is that feeling with Helldivers where you were like higher difficulties, a full squad, you've called in your exfil, and then like an entire swarm just tries to come for you. And it's like that moment that you're trying to survive as a dropship comes in. And it's just like such a unique and fun experience. I think it was just, yeah.
You hit the nail on the head there with the unique. I think that's what gives it to Helldivers for me, because it was an experience that I felt like I hadn't had before. Where Call of Duty, we played Call of Duty, Warhammer. There has been a Warhammer before, obviously. Like, don't get me wrong, it was the first time I played Warhammer, but it just didn't. Again, I wouldn't begrudge beating it with the boys, like sort of thing. I've said this to Despawn a couple of times, but Helldivers for me, and though it may have only been 2 weeks of playing that game, right? Like, and then I dropped off. Those 2 weeks were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the uniqueness for me is what probably gives it the edge for me for this category, personally. So yeah, that's what I vote for as well.
Helldivers it is.
Helldivers it is. Next up, best VR/AR game. Remember Despawn? You're a big VR guy, remember?
Yeah, let me just push it.
There's no doubt he played every game on this list and beat them multiple times, I'm sure.
Remember when you were the VR guy, remember?
Yeah. There's no dust on my headset at all. Sorry.
Remember when you tried to convince me to buy a new headset, remember?
No. You tried to convince you to buy a new headset, and I just went along for the ride.
You both tried to convince Fix to buy a new headset. It was both of you working in tandem.
Along for the ride.
But I didn't. Best VR game for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadows, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. I can only speak to one of these games that I have played, which is the Arizona Sunshine. I've played this and an event I went to. Very good game. Very good game. I've heard that Asgard's Wrath, though, is meant to be the VR experience.
Yep.
From what I've been told. So
100%.
Those are my 2 bobs on that.
Yeah, no. 100% Asgard's Wrath is is what you get a VR headset for. That's the experience. Is like fully immersive, voice acted, puzzles, combat, like everything you want, you can imagine from a VR game. Yeah, that is it. But it's a weird one because like there's a bunch of games in here that I should get and love, but VR has become 100% what I worried it was going to be, and it is very much the niche product. And I just don't use it for games. I use it for everything else. I watch
Not a bad
films.
thing though. I'll be honest. Yeah, I was about to say I started watching basketball again, and they keep promoting that you can watch basketball on it, the courtside stuff, and I'm like, maybe I'll buy a MetaQuest just for that. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just,
for me, it's like it's Netflix, like because surround sound with a big cinema-sized screen.
Yeah,
like I watched Godzilla -1 on it, and it was an experience. Imagine just having a cinema tier on. That's the good one that came out last year.
That's the one that's all Japanese with dubbed voiceover, right? Yeah, that movie was so good.
I watched it with the subtitles because cultured.
I watched the subtitle. I don't remember if I watched dubbed over subtitles.
The one I saw. I think I saw the one with Warner put out.
Oh,
Godzilla versus. Is it Godzilla versus?
Skull Island.
Yeah, I watched that. Oh man, that film was a wild ride. That film.
That was a film.
I think you'd like this movie, Fix.
You would.
It's got horror elements. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, and they do
maybe link it to me.
It's on Netflix. The dub's pretty good. I watched it after again in dub just to see what it was like. If you don't want to read. But yeah, off the subject. Asgard's Wrath because it's the only one I've played.
Okay,
Fix God, shut up.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to talk right now.
I'm gonna say back on the subject. I just realized it'd been like 2 minutes since we mentioned a video game, so I was like, go on, Godzilla. What were you saying?
No, that's never happened to me on my own pod, but I love that from you, so thank you. I'm going with Asgard as well, please.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect. Shut up, Crash.
I don't say anything.
All right, here we go. Best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device. We've got AFK Journey. Despawn, take the next one because I don't know how to pronounce it properly.
Balatro.
Thank you very much. Pokemon Trading Card Pocket. Despawn, take the next one.
Wuthering Waves.
And then Zenless Zone Zero. There is only one answer, and we are not even going to discuss. Yes, there is, Crash.
We don't have to discuss it, but
you're right. We don't have to discuss it. It's one answer.
There's not one answer.
Technically,
I've played all 5 of these games.
Okay.
I've played all 5.
Filthy casual, bro.
I've become a filthy casual.
Thing, right?
I have. I've played all 5 of these games.
Jesus, you waifu playing. Jesus, yeah. Well, talk to me then. Fine, you've played. To be fair, you're correct. There's two answers. I heard a lot of good stuff about Balatro. I'll be honest, a lot of good things.
We can talk about Balatro as well. I just want to point out of all 5 of these games, Pokemon Trading Card Game goes in the number 4 or 3 spot.
But you do know.
It's winning. I know it's winning this. Yeah. You two got the vote. I'm fully I accept that. I'm not going to argue it. You guys got it.
You say that.
No, Despawn, don't do it.
I have played 2 games on this list.
Balatro is one of them. I know, and I know that game's meant to be amazing. I get it, but a game has to do something very special to get me to play it on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, you're just sitting there shaking your hand.
That game does nothing special. That game does nothing special.
It does.
The Pokemon TCG game does nothing special. It does something special for you. That's fair. But it does nothing special.
If a game can convince me to download it, give it money, and then convince me to go to a shop and buy cards, it's got to win best mobile game.
The IP does that.
Yeah.
It's the IP. It's the
game
Pokemon.
did that.
It's the Pokemon. It's the you open the pack, you see the Pokemon card. If you put any other franchise or something else in that, if this was a Yu-Gi-Oh game, you wouldn't have stuck onto it as long as you did.
Is that you calling Crush wet? What's going on?
He's wet, mate. He's wet.
Okay.
There you go.
Whenever I'm talking to Fix, always
wet.
Yeah. I kind of disagree. I don't think it's just the Pokemon. I think it is the experience of, like I said, the experience of opening the cards and the FOMO around it, and even the community around it. That it's like everyone I know is playing it. Like, they're talking about it, and like, it's going to be a whole nother level when trading gets added, and it's just like everyone's excited for the next update. It's like
I thought it would have dropped off by now. Like generally, I thought it would have been. I'm done. I can't get the Moltres. I've been trying to get this Moltres for how long, right? And I thought I would have got frustrated by now. Obviously, I don't have my gold because I'm not paying $7.99 a month. And I'm there. I'm still there. Like, oh yeah, I'll play this. Haley's playing it while watching TV. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, playing Pokemon. I'm like, cool. I won't tell you to put your phone down then. because you're playing Pokemon. And just like, yeah, no, and don't get me wrong, I've heard amazing things about Balatro. It just isn't a me type game, unfortunately, and the rest of these are obviously not me type games either. But it has to be. We did a whole segment on the podcast about a mobile game.
Yeah,
about a mobile game, guys. We don't talk mobile games ever.
It's true because we're an Xbox.
That's
podcast,
including you, Crash. No, but we talk in the What's Been in Our Box section. We talk about everything, and you have not brought up any of these games, not one.
That's actually not true. I've talked about both Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero. So why are you saying that?
Yes, I think I mentioned Wuthering Waves as well. I don't play them all.
Yeah.
I think I just zone out.
I know you do. I know you do.
As soon as waifu, it's like, I'm out.
I think I just zone out as soon as I hear something that's like no interest to me.
You do. I know you
like, do you know what it is? I'm so focused on like when he's done, I need to transition this into something else. But I'm focused on that so much. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry. No, I am. I'm sorry. Next year I'll be more present. This year though, shut the fuck up. All right, it's Pokemon.
It is. I mean, the answer is definitely Pokemon, but just because of everything we said earlier. But again, Balatro is amazing. I will be honest, like because I saw that it got added to some of the awards nominations. So I was like, oh well, I keep hearing about it. It's relatively cheap. I'll install it and give it a quick go.
What is it?
Like £10.
Nope.
Like 10, 12
have you done the Apple Play demo?
No, I haven't.
It's on Apple Play. So if you do the 3-month demo, you can play through that.
I mean, I just
maybe.
So here's how I know it's a good game. I bought it on Steam to have a quick go of it. Played it for 3 hours straight.
Oh,
went to bed. Bought the mobile version.
Good game.
Good game.
It's a good game.
I think you'll be happy for about the next category. So we've owned Pokemon on that. Yeah,
we've owned Pokemon on this one. Yeah.
Cool. Best debut indie game. The best debut game created by an independent studio. First up, we have Animal Well. Then we have Balatro. Then we have Manor Lords. Then we have Pacific Drive. And then we have the Plucky Squire. Take it away, boys, because I ain't played none of them.
I've only played one.
I played 2. I've heard things about all 5, but personal experience is just Balatro and Pacific Drive. The one I think is going to win, I think is going to be Animal Well. I've heard nothing but great things about that game from anyone who's played it.
I think
it's going to win over Balatro?
I think it might have a chance.
Interesting.
I think it'll be between those two. But yeah, my vote would be for Balatro.
I haven't really heard much about Animal Well, if I'm going to be honest. I haven't heard much about any of these games other than Balatro and Manor Lords. The Plucky Squire I've heard a little bit, but a lot of that was a little bit more of a mixed conversation than just the conversation around the other two. I haven't really heard anything from Animal Well, but Animal Well is also not as a negative, but it's kind of a generic name that I might have just forgotten it if I did hear about it.
So I think the reason for Animal Well is it's very much one of those games where it's like you have to play it to understand it, from what I understand. So it's like no one's really talking about the gameplay elements apart from the fact that they're incredibly unique. So it is on my list to check out, and I do want to check it out before the end of the year. But yeah, like for games I've played, like again, I put in a fair few hours on Pacific Drive. I'm currently like 4 out. Again, I played it before we even started recording. I was playing Balatro between work and this. So yeah, I'm hooked on that. But yeah, Balatro is the one for me.
Then do it. I have nothing to say against it.
Cool.
All right, next up, best independent game for outstanding creativity and technical achievement in a game made outside of the traditional publishing system. Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei,
Do you want me to get this one?
Laser Eyes. Go on.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Fine. Yep. Neve?
Never.
Bullshit. UFO 50. I mean, I'm going to go Balatro again with it because, again, for everything you just said.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of those where, like, if I played these, I think I might have a different response because, again, I heard fantastic things about Noel. I've actually heard a ton of exciting things about UFO 50 as well. It's basically 50 different developers making 50 different games in one package. But they're all like fully fledged, like 8-bit style. Like there's RPGs, there's like fighting games.
That's cheating.
Yeah, there's like a ton of
50
stuff.
developers.
I know. But yeah, apparently like it's and there's a really cohesive plot point between them all, and like it's So I've heard good things about that. And neither like I'm very excited to try that one. So it's the same developers who did Gris, which is a gorgeous game by the looks of it. But yeah, and then I've not heard anything about Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. But yeah, like just for the fact that I've only played one of these games, it's Balatro again.
Balatro it is. Next up, best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, including social media activity and game updates / patches. We've got Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky.
I know. So can I just jump in straight at this one? I know the joke is every year No Man's Sky is on this list. But I genuinely think No Man's Sky deserves it this year. Like some of the stories I've been hearing about the levels that the developers are going to help players. Like apparently there was a story where a developer actually actively fixed a corrupted 6,000 hour save for a player.
Wow.
And it's like, developers don't need to generally do that. And like, obviously the constant updates that we're getting for the game, like even if you don't like the game, they are constantly updating it for the people that are still playing it. Right? Yeah. I mean,
I think there's I think there's 2 games that are up there for me out of these, which is No Man's Sky and Baldur's Gate, and Final Fantasy 14 I think is always in that conversation. But I'm happy with No Man's Sky. If you said they did that, I think that's reason enough for me.
I mean, to be fair, I could argue for every single one of these. Like again, Fortnite is constantly updating itself. Like we've just seen the OG updates, and constantly giving the community something new to do. Baldur's Gate 3 was in the constant patches, mod support that they're offered.
Mod support's huge. Before you said that, that's what I was going to fight for. But after that No Man's Sky story, I'm like, I'm cool with that being it.
Final Fantasy 14, big updates. I'm just going through the list of everything. Helldivers 2 is the constant, like, I don't know what they call it in game now, but it's like the major orders, sorry.
They're
consistently rolling those out and stuff, and like adding the new space station in there. It's like every single one of these games deserves to be nominated, but I don't think I've ever heard a story like to the level that the No Man's Sky devs have gone. Considering this still, in essence, a tiny team.
Yeah,
like, I'm pretty sure I've heard like 20 people or something.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the updates that No Man's Sky gets are new tech that they're making for their new game. So they introduce it early to No Man's Sky. It runs as a test, and then that works out beneficial to them, but it also works out great for the No Man's Sky community and the people who still play that game because they constantly get new stuff.
Agreed.
It's hard for me to pick anything over Baldur's Gate, if I'm honest. For me, it's just like, I really like their developers. I really like the way they speak. I really like the mod support. I really like, there's a lot to like, and I love that game, right? Very, very few times you play a video game, not beat it, and still talk about it with the same love as if you did beat it. But yeah, for me, I'll go with you on this, Despawn, just because it seems like you're a little bit more tapped in.
Yeah.
But I don't feel good about it.
Also, to point out to Baldur's Gate, I think from their developers is also we've gotten some of the most consistent in the industry, like perspective on things a lot, where they've had a lot of developers that have put their voice out and really like talked about things and added perspectives that I might have not thought about or people haven't really thought about. So I think that's one thing to say, but yeah, No Man's Sky, I think I'm fine with that.
All right, I'm good with it. Don't worry, I counteracted it because I voted for Baldur's Gate on my screen, so that's all that matters.
This guy.
I did too, Fix. I did
too. Best ongoing game. The award to a game for outstanding development of an ongoing content that evolves to the player's experience over time. Destiny 2, Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Thank God. Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. I have no clue, honestly. Again, I don't play any of these games anymore.
Yeah, I've played them all, but like again, not recently.
Oh, so have I. Yeah.
But yeah.
I think
Final
for me, I probably would go
Fantasy-
Final Fantasy if I'm honest.
The problem with Final Fantasy is I don't think a lot of people were super in love with the expansion this year. So that like all these games, I haven't kept up with Helldivers 2 enough to
Yeah, but
go
Destiny,
with it.
no one likes Destiny anymore.
I can promise you I wasn't gonna fight for Destiny.
But one
I can promise you
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll go with whatever you want after that. Chris, you pick whatever.
You pick it when I go on this one.
I was gonna say Fortnite. I don't know.
Okay. Fortnite is amazing. Fortnite.
That was an easy one.
Next up, Games for Impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. We have got Closer the Distance, Indica. God damn it.
Never.
Is that how you say her name in Valgard as well?
No, it's Neve.
But it's spelt the same.
Nope. No, it isn't. There's an E on the end of hers. This is an A.
Okay, that makes sense. Life Exchange, Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzira Zoo.
What's that?
God damn it, bro. I'm so out of whack with these games nowadays. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Can't they just all call themselves Call of Duty something or other?
Exactly.
Yeah, what's going on with these developers?
I've only played one of these. There's one more on my.
Nope. Just fix his internet gone.
His internet may be gone.
He may be gone. He's only played one of these apparently.
I'm still here. I've only played one of these.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only played one of these. I don't know. I can only really go with Hellblade because that's the one I played. But
okay.
Yeah,
Same.
I don't know.
I've played 3
That doesn't
of
leave
these.
me like, doesn't leave me feeling happy.
Yeah, I've played
What's
3
the
of these.
pro-social messaging in Hellblade?
It's
mental health.
Mental health. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Sure.
Tales of Gonzara is about grief and culture and all that kind of.
Does the game do a good job of purveying that, or did the developer do a good job of purveying that? I've not played it, so I don't know. Okay,
The game is very much a big, like, grief specifically is very much a big focus of the game.
Cool.
And dealing with those different emotions as part of that. Indica is just weird. Is very much about organized religion and the damage it can do and all that kind of stuff, but also just some, and it also does go into mental health as well and trauma. Honestly, I think we're going to give it to Hellblade because it's the one that we've all played. I'm really leaning towards Indica. I think everyone should at least try and play it. It's pretty short.
Look,
go on.
Despawn, here's what I'll say. If you say it's Indica, I will back you on this vote.
Oh, I'll back you just to not give it to Hellblade.
Really? Oh, you
Bro,
really did enjoy that game there, so.
No. I'm not saying no. That's not even true. Like, it's not that I really didn't enjoy Hellblade, but it just wasn't. It wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
Ultimately, from a game, from a film, from an experience, sure. But from a game, no. If you're telling me, is there more game in Indica than there is in Hellblade?
Not really. It's very similar.
Is there less game?
Then I'm giving it to Hellblade.
Okay, we can go to Hellblade.
What did you say, Crash, there?
I said, is there less game?
No, it is another walking simulator, but I think it's the themes and the story, and it's I don't want to spoil it, but there are moments in that game that genuinely shocked me.
Hellblade don't have that.
No, Hellblade does not have that. Like, for anyone who has played the game, they'll know it's one of the I'll just say the 8-bit sections. Yeah, this game is
for me. Fine. Yeah, Indica, that works for me, bro.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, give it to Indica.
That works for me. I'll give you it.
Everyone should play Indica.
Agreed. All right, next up, innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age, The Vanguard, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws.
I have no clue on this one.
I've played 4 of the 5. No, played all these games.
Yeah,
I've played all these games, and the only one I know of being really good is Prince of Persia. That is the one for me that, like, when I play the game, I show it off as a feature. Again, take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But I show it off as a feature to the game for people who struggle with difficulty and stuff like that. Being able to turn off quick time events, to turn down difficulty on a very modular level, is very, very impressive.
Yeah,
so that's where my head
fantastic
goes to.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you on that one. The problem with this kind of category is, with it being an accessibility thing, they are like, all these games did great work, but they're not options that I would generally touch, so it's hard to have an opinion on them.
Agreed.
But like you say, like, I did go very in depth on the Prince of Persia ones and have a play around with those properly when we're doing our review. And it, very much, like they went like you say, that extra like yard.
Yeah. Prince of Persia for me. Cool.
With that.
Yeah.
Best performance awarded to the individual for voice acting. For voice over acting, motion, and or performance capture. Brenna White from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Who does she play?
Aerith.
Aerith.
Thank you. Hannah Telly, I think that's correct. From Life is Strange Double Exposure. Humbly Gonzalez from Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts from Silent Hill 2. Absolutely not. No disrespect to him, but no. And then we have Melina Jurgens. I hope I said that correctly, from Hellblade 2. Huh. Damn. I mean, it's between 3 for me because I haven't played Double Exposure yet.
So no
disrespect to Luke. No disrespect to Luke, but like James is just a very boring character to me. So I could never give it to him. Not that his performance of the character and what they were going for wasn't perfect for what they were trying to do, but that character is just boring to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's between 2 for me.
My vote's Brianna White.
Yeah, it's probably going to have to be for me as well, if I'm honest.
I think Hellblade 2 has a decent like argument for it, but when I think back to Hellblade 2, what I'm most impressed with is the mocap and stuff like that, and I don't know if you count that towards an actor's performance.
It says mocap capture and performance.
Does it say that?
Motion and our performance capture. Which, from what I understand, is what mocap stands for.
Yeah.
Again, like, I am very much leaning between Brianna and Melina. I'm leaning more towards Melina's side.
Yeah, I'm Brianna, to be honest with you, because again, it's an experience that it was an experience that I had not experienced before with a character, and it still sits with me now.
Right.
Very few games have a moment in a game that happens for me that I am like, please undo this. You know, where it sits with you so much, where you're like,
but
that's from her performance. That's from her performance of the character.
Okay.
Yeah, like
because you got to remember,
it's her you get connected to.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't play original 7 with no voice acting and have it. I have my version of that character is her. Like, so yeah, like I'm so like, I'm still heartbroken, you know, like about anything that transpires around anything. So yeah, no, I well, so yeah, for me, it's like hard.
Yeah. So for me, it is very much like, I'm thinking of specific scenes where, like, again, no slight to Brianna, I think she did an amazing, like, one of the best jobs you could do for Aerith. But there are moments that generally left me, like, I think we talked about it when we were having our review discussion. There are moments in Hellblade 2 where I genuinely got anxiety because of Melina's performance in certain scenes. And it's like, that game gave me mental health issues. That's how good that game is for a performance side. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a hard one. Like, again, I've got no problem giving it to Brianna if we decide Brianna, but like, I think just Melina threw her, like, again, she threw her entire body into it. Like, the mocap work that she did for that game and everything on top of it.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't like mocap being included.
But it is.
It's part of the performance.
No, I get that it is. I get that it is, but like mocap is. This is more of a discussion on performance, but mocap is a whole different type of performance that it kind of feels like unfair to add it all into one bag, where one's very focused on just their voice, the other one's everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the hard part here, right? Like it's like comparing one person who did everything compared to one person who did one of these things.
Yeah.
So
I think but I think that's big. The problem is with this category, more and more people are doing all of it nowadays.
Yeah,
it's just in this situation they didn't. But
it depends where, like, the games, like a lot of Japanese games don't do that as well. So it's like. I'm gonna stick with Brianna personally, to be honest.
Yeah, my guy. That's what I'm talking about, Crash.
Okay.
You're on the right side of history, even if we lose on the day. All right.
I think Melina 100% deserves. Like, you make an argument for her. Like,
absolutely.
Her performance is fantastic. Like, not to take anything away from her performance.
Agreed.
But the emotional connection that Aerith gave us is like, Again, I'm not angry with it. I'm not upset about it all. Like, I'm totally fine.
Next up, best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. First up, we have Astro Bot. Then we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. There's only one correct answer for me in this.
Cool.
Final Fantasy, but it's from a pure music base. Like, the music for me is better than the sound design in Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 overall is probably better, which is why it should win. As like it's not music, right? Like,
there is a specific soundtrack category as well.
Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. I think it should be Hellblade.
I think on the design level, like sound design, it's Hellblade. Yeah.
But Hellblade soundtrack is
don't get me wrong. Like I have the soundtrack behind me. It's right there.
I know.
I've got it on vinyl. Like one of the best soundtracks ever made. But we're talking sound design, not just soundtrack. Like, I think
I think Hellblade. I think Hellblade also, when you're including like the voices and all that stuff. I think it's hard to vote anything that's not Hellblade in this.
It's okay. We can make it all for the next category. Best score and music. For outstanding music, inclusion of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Astro Bot, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Metaphor, Fantasio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. Final Fantasy.
Metaphor. No, it's Final Fantasy, yeah. Crush is like,
I know Final Fantasy is winning this, but
I mean,
my vote is definitely. I think Metaphor and Final Fantasy 7 for me are like neck and neck. They have those like epic RPG soundtracks that just they hit when they need to, they transition when they need to. I think both of those soundtracks are fantastic. I'm completely happy giving it to Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, I think for me, it's very much the evolution of the soundtrack for Final Fantasy of like.
Agreed.
Coming from like the 90s MIDI sound to bring it into a full orchestral and rock soundtrack, it's just it's such a perfect like transition that they've done, but they've made it feel modern, and it's like and honestly, like even to this day, like some of the most iconic music in video games.
Well, as someone who didn't play the original, right? I was only around the original with my granddad playing it. Like, I understood what the dun 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 that being brought into a modern setting that now resonates with me is like, damn, crazy.
I will put my hands up into this. Like, I honestly think it is very hard to find a song better than One Winged Angel.
Is that what that is?
No, it's the Sephiroth theme tune. So the battle theme, like end level. But I think it's like top tier.
More iconic, I think difficult. Better, you can definitely find better. I think.
I don't know. Have you ever watched those? Final Fantasy wins. But have you ever watched those kind of like, you know, when you get like a classically trained musician who breaks down like video game music or like rock music? Like, I watched one do like a breakdown of the One Winged Angel, and it's like just seeing a professional breakdown, like the transition between like orchestral to metal and like the blending of the two, it's just like, oh, on a musician's level, it's phenomenal. But yeah, and it's just a banger as well. Sephiroth.
I hate Sephiroth.
We all do. For
No,
no
I
particular
generally-
reason. For no
Yeah,
particular
alright,
reason
sure.
whatsoever. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
You a hater.
If I had his statue, I'd smash it.
No, you
Damn.
wouldn't.
You'd smash up 19 inches of Sephiroth.
He would sell it. He's like, I'm gonna get back at you. I'm gonna sell you, you dumb
Sell it to
statue.
someone who does.
He's gonna sell it for cheap. He's gonna lose money on the statue. That's how much he hates it.
100%. Next up, best art direction. We have got for outstanding creative or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor, and Never.
This one.
This is a tough one
Yeah.
because I think they all, with the exception of Astrobot, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think Astrobot is as good as the others, but I think they all do a lot of interesting stuff artistically.
And then, in its genre, I think Astrobot is a beautiful game, but like stacking it up again, you stack that up against Erdtree and even Black Myth and Metaphor, and Never has got its own like style. Yeah, no. But
Probably give us the Metaphor from what I've seen.
Yeah, I am honestly.
Yeah, I think
I'm kind of leaning that way as well. Like,
But I think it's that new thing as well, right? For me, where it's like Astrobot, we've seen an Astrobot game before. Black Myth, I kind of know what to expect from something like that. Elden Ring's Elden Ring. Metaphor, again, it's a new game. Atlas, yes, it's Persona-esque, but it still does something quite different from what Persona looks like, in my opinion. So I think that's where I would go when it comes to art direction, but that's just me.
yeah, Metaphor's probably my vote as well.
I'm okay with that.
It wins something, Chris. Congratulations.
Let's go.
You got one, mate. You got one. Next up, best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Final Fantasy Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Fantasio, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. Every game here is sequel other than Metaphor. Just wanted to point that out. Crazy.
Yep.
So hard.
It's not.
Because,
It is difficult. What?
okay.
What? Deswan, you lead us then, because it's not difficult for you. Just lead us. Say what your original opinion was. I don't want to hear about the other ones that just popped into your head.
No.
I want to know what the original was.
Go. It's easy. Go.
No, well, yeah, it's easy until I started thinking about it for 2 seconds. So I was going to say...
okay.
No, drop. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Final Fantasy VII as being one of the best stories, but then my mind automatically said, yeah, but it's not complete. But it kind of is, because like...
It is.
But
It is.
That's that story that they told in that game is...
That is complete.
Self-contained,
Yes.
yeah. Like a Dragon was a fantastic story. Hellblade 2 was a story. Silent Hill I've not played.
It was a story.
It was a story. Silent Hill 2, I'll get to it, but yeah, like I know the story, and from what I understand, it's a very faithful retelling of that story. Yeah. Yeah, like, but
my
bias is sending me to Final Fantasy, like just because it's Final Fantasy.
I'm happy with those first 3 games.
I'm happy with all of those games. Narratively, I'm happy with all of those games. My issue is what tells the best narrative? What tells me the best story? Because Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, for a Like a Dragon / Yakuza fan, I think we're only playing it from like a one game perspective, right? Most of us are not like Yakuza fans like that, and we can still appreciate that story, but the level of detail and nostalgia, and it is just oozing with that, what that series is.
Yeah.
I think it's lost on me, you, and Despawn here, where Final Fantasy, you can extrapolate everything from that without playing, I believe, without playing the original or even the first part of this series. I think you can play this self-contained and still understand what is going on in this game. narratively. I think
But you could say the same thing for Infinite Wealth, no?
100%. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying I think you get a lot more out of it. I mean, and of course, you get a lot more out of Final Fantasy if you've played it. But like, it's a hard one, man. It's a hard one. I think.
It's hard. Like the thing with Final Fantasy is like until we do get that third game finished, it's hard to say how much the first, like the original, will impact the experience of the whole thing until it's all done. And you can go back and retroactively look, oh, they did that in the part 1 and that changes in part 2 and compare that to the original. Until they're all done, it's kind of hard to make that comparison, to be fair.
Well, we're talking about this game though.
No, I get that. 100%. This is tough. I
think I'd go Final Fantasy again. I've never had it again. I know I've said it before, and I know it's boring, but I've never had a game that I've finished, even including Resident Evil. By the way, actually, that's not true. Resident Evil 2 ending sat with me for a bit.
Which one?
As a kid, after the moment that Ada dies.
Oh yeah.
That moment, I remember sitting on my uncle's bed and crying.
Spoiler: she's not dead.
Yeah, spoiler: she doesn't die.
Were you happy when you found out she wasn't dead, Fix?
I don't actually remember. I'll be honest with you, because remember, I'm Resident Evil 4 hater.
True.
Wait, no. You find out in 2 she's not dead.
When?
She throws you the rocket launcher.
Oh yeah, of course she does.
Fake fan.
Fake fan, bro. Wow.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't remember Crash. How I
X
felt.
finished the game and then started crying again. Like, I can't believe
no,
she
I
came back
didn't
as a
cry
ghost
again.
and gave me a rocket.
No. I remember because again, my auntie Anne and my uncle Andy, they used to live at my nan and granddad's house, right? And I remember my uncle used to let me up into his bedroom. So I remember sitting on his bed, Ada falling to her death, and me crying. So I remember that specific moment. I don't remember. Yeah, of course, Ada does throw the rocket launcher. Yeah, that's a very, very important part of the information there, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the baby the boss. Yeah.
But I think as an adult, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, again, like I say, it still sat with me today. And that's with the spoiler coming and me knowing it, unfortunately, and kind of knowing the build up of this whole story of what was going to happen, but praying that it didn't.
Yeah. At what point can we talk spoilers about that game? Because I really want to get into a spoiler cast on that.
Well, Crash still hasn't finished it, technically.
I haven't
Crash,
finished it.
Get on with it.
Do you guys want to do a spoiler cast? I'll finish it this week if you guys want to do a spoiler cast.
I want to. I want to have a sit down and have a proper conversation about it at some point. I won't do numbers at all, but you know.
But it's more for us than for them.
Yeah,
to be honest, we would
I just want to talk to somebody about the ending.
We could do a new series on the channel, which is just like spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Which is like a podcast that we do that isn't based off of the My Xbox and Me podcast, where we just go back and do spoiler cast for games.
I'm done. Okay.
And then by the time, so when everyone has finished the game, we then do a spoiler cast on a separate, it'll be on the MXAM channel, but on a separate, it won't be on the My Xbox and Me feed that the game, unless it's like a new game, we wouldn't play it on the feed.
Yeah.
Let me know if you'd like to hear that. If you'd like to hear us talk about old games and spoilers and things like that, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So I've got some thoughts about the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I would love to discuss with people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my vote to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth only because of Tifa and Cloud's relationship. I think it's written from what I've played, which is like the last chapter or whatever. It's very, very well written, especially comparatively to the original. They add a lot of nuance to it. And I don't think there's a relationship like that in Like a Dragon that's done as well from what I've played of Like a Dragon so far. And I don't think Metaphor, which would have been my other vote, has a relationship written as well as that either.
I agree. I think I love all the characterization around Like a Dragon, but like it is very much just a bunch of mates hanging out. Like, I'd say hanging out. There's obviously a serious through point in the entire game, and it is a fantastic game. 10 out of 10 from me. But very much like I agree with you. It is very much like the nuance between each of the characters, like say the Tifa and Cloud story, even the Tifa and Aerith story about them becoming friends, and then obviously Aerith and Cloud's story on its own, like his issues in the game. I think each of the different narratives that they have, like if you just follow one, I think it'd make a great story. Like the fact that they weave them all so perfectly together into the ending. Yeah,
They also do something that's a little bit difficult to do in games, where a lot of times with story beats, games try and do a lot of stuff in your face most of the time. I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has moments where it lets a scene play out. They don't really talk about what happened. They won't really bring focus to it, but it becomes relevant. Even if they don't bring that exact thing, it is apparent that that was a moment that was relevant to the narrative later on. And I think most games, and the way games are made, is very much they want to let you know, oh, this big thing happened and it's big and it's important, so remember it. Whereas Final Fantasy just sort of lets you ride that motion and you feel however you feel about it, and then you'll revisit it later.
Yeah, I feel like that comes back into the performance thing though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's bring it back around because we've still got categories.
Sorry.
Final
Final
Fantasy.
Fantasy.
Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
let's go.
Final Fantasy. All right, cool. Best game direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovative, in-game direction and design. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Fantasio. I think this is where I would give it to Elden Ring. I've not played it, by the way, but like, from what I've been told, its design's very. It's a expansion that then remakes you play the entire game again and level up again to make you feel powerful again. From what I've been told, am I wrong in that?
From that perspective, yes. Like you do have to go out and but I think in that perspective, I would agree with you. I just think there's a lot of stuff that they do in that expansion that isn't super well crafted in comparison to the original. They have a lot of open areas that feel very empty. They have parts where you're going to fight through, and they have you getting like level 1 upgrades to get like items to upgrade new weapons, which makes sense because they're introducing new weapons. But if you already played the game, you would have unlocked merchants to buy those stones either way. It just feels very redundant in some of those design aspects. I think the leveling aspect is very cool, but then there's also complaints people have with that aspect of the game as well, where it feels very tedious and it adds a difficulty spike that might be unnecessary to the game. So I think there's a lot of asterisks with Shadow of the Erdtree that I'd probably say that doesn't win it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've played a lot of Erdtree, but like I've not finished it. But yeah, I'm kind of with Crash on that. I feel like there are like it looks beautiful. Running around is great. The moment to moment like combat in certain like sections is fantastic. It's more Elden Ring, which is great. But yeah, like there are definitely those asterisks, like you say, to it. But if we're talking just like straight up game direction, like for the exact reason we were talking about before, like it's Final Fantasy for me. Like I think the story alone, the director behind that story, and like had a vision and they pulled it out to perfection. I think, yeah, there is something about that game that, compared to the rest of these, I think it's a no-brainer.
I think you can make an argument for Astrobot for sure. I think you can make an argument for Balatro as well. Like remixing poker in the way that they do in a very creative way, adding the whatchamacallit, the roguelike elements to it. Yeah, it's very, very like, it's not like Final Fantasy, but it's also a little bit unfair because it is like a 8-bit game made by one person at the same time. I think Metaphor, definitely, this is a very difficult category that I'd probably give it to Balatro if I'm gonna be 100% honest, but I'm happy with anything on this list making it as well.
Yeah, like I say, nothing on this list is like would be upsetting to me. I just think Final Fantasy, personally, just preference.
Yeah, I think it's Final Fantasy because it's the only one I played on here. Sorry.
No, that's fair.
You should play Balatro. It's great.
Yeah, maybe. And then, last but not least, the big one, Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor. Let's just do the category first and then we'll have the discussion afterwards, if that's okay, boys. I think out of this list, it's a pretty easy one because there's a glaring miss on this list, which I know me and D-Spawn will agree on, which is Like a Dragon.
I'll agree on that too.
Yeah, like the fact that the fact that Like a Dragon is not on this list upsets me throughout the entire games industry. Of like, because we obviously know there's a way to find out who votes on this stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's a page.
There is a panelist, I think.
A panelist page, yeah. Go on.
I think the unfortunate situation is a lot of people that would have voted for Like a Dragon probably either put their votes for Final Fantasy Rebirth or Metaphor.
Agreed.
We'll talk more about the Game of the Year category because I have thoughts and opinions.
From this list, is Final Fantasy VII. It's not even a question. If I'm being honest, for all the reasons we've heard us talk about it throughout every other category, left an everlasting impact on my life. Which many games do not do in 2024. Let's be honest. The last game that did it to me was in 1995 with Resident Evil 2. As someone who's not played the original, fell in love with a cast of characters that have just morphed into me buying fan art of them and really enjoying them as characters emotionally and you have to be a special game to do that. In a 32-year-old's life, like for a game to like latch on, I want to go to the orchestra when they do that next time. I want to, I'm walking past booths of people's drawings and I'm buying them. That tells you how special this game must be to me. Which I just don't. Whether I'll get to Astro Bot, and I will, and I will get to Metaphor as well. I just don't see it being any of those two games. Maybe they do, but those two games doing that to me the way Final Fantasy has, and the game itself, because I'm talking about a lot of outside exterior things, the game itself plays amazingly, story is amazing, voice acting's amazing. There's nothing in that game that really frustrates me. A little bit long, but that's what's to be expected, and there's a little bit of bloat in some areas of that game. And I think we agree on this, Crash. There's a little bit of bloat in it, but it's still a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think I give it to Metaphor personally because of the bloat. Like when I'm comparing both of these games, I think that, and Infinite Wealth, I'm going to throw Infinite Wealth in here because it's part of this conversation for me. Those are all neck and neck for me, and it's very minute things that change like what's rated. And the thing that pulls Final Fantasy VII Part 2 down, Rebirth, is those bloated areas of where you're like, by the time I got to the jungle and I'm bouncing on mushrooms, I'm like, I'm done with this open world exploration. Just give me the story. I don't want all this other stuff. Yeah. It's cool that it's here, but like I have to interact with it to a degree that I don't want to. And I think that's where like that game sort of loses me to a degree. I think everything else about the game is amazing. And hopefully going forward into the third part, they sort of keep that in mind. Because earlier on, when you have that open world exploration, I think it's cool. It's fun. But then you get to this sort of big pivot to like, I just want the story because the story's gotten really exciting. And instead you're making me ride a chocobo and take wind paths and all this other stuff that I just don't want to do.
Yeah, I almost quit the game at that area as well. And I just couldn't because of how good it is the issue. Yeah. If I didn't have Despawn in chat, I think I would have lost my shit.
Yeah, I feel like that game is like, it is fantastic despite its issues. Yep. And I think the highs are way to play it. Yeah, the highs are so high that the lows don't matter. Is to me like for all the issues that I might have had with like that section that we're talking about, some of the side quests being a bit overly long and that kind of thing. Like Final Fantasy is like, I feel like my problem is I don't really want to talk on something like Metaphor where I've not played it at all, apart from like maybe an hour or two of the beginning section for the prologue. Honest, like I personally don't feel that Black Myth Wukong belongs on this list either. I don't think it's as good as anything else on here, and I think there are better. And as we've said, there's better games that come out this. I think that part of the conversation we're going to touch that conversation later. Just focus on what's here. Bit. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying there are other games that were released this year.
What you're saying, I think that's all going to be going to be part of the conversation because I think it is a pretty big conversation to have.
Yeah, but so it's a weird one because I want to jump back into Metaphor. I'm going to get the full game for like my New Year break, and just blitz through it.
Just say Final Fantasy. And
the answer is obviously
it's for you. It's Final Fantasy.
No, no. The answer is Final Fantasy. Like while I absolutely like again, I 100% think Balatro deserves to be up here just from the 4 or 5 hours I played of it. like that loop, and it's the same thing that ride this out with me. It's the same kind of one more run experience that Vampire Survivors gave me, of like every run that you do, you feel like you're progressing that little bit, like whether it be unlocking a Joker card or whether it be like getting the best run, and yeah, like just it has that kind of like one more go itch that I love in a game that gets me playing for 5 hours in a go. But yeah, it's like we've discussed multiple times. There are so many different elements of Final Fantasy VII that they absolutely got right. Like they got it perfect. That, like we said, like the little issues didn't matter because the overall experience was just so good. That yeah, far and away, like nothing else has really touched it for me on this list.
Fair enough. Final Fantasy VII it is. Sorry, Crush.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I'm not sorry. Suck it, Crush. Matt
Why you gotta be so mean?
And he wouldn't be that.
Matt wouldn't have saved me with that one.
No.
Matt would have voted for Balatro.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have pivoted my vote and we would have got a 2-2 lock.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can't wait for the Game of the Year talk from us. Let's transition into obviously the big topic outside of all this, which is obviously we got a question come in from Eldoza, who says, very quick and easy question this week. What are your thoughts on the changes to the Game Awards nomination? So, Despawn, for people who don't know about the changes that have come, what are they, and can you explain them at all?
TLDR version, basically DLC is now eligible for main category voting. So yeah. So
obviously we've seen Erdtree be added as a Game of the Year contender this year.
Yep.
I don't even know how we want to tackle this in terms of like, do you think it's right? I guess that's the first question to ask you. Crash, I'll start with you. Like, is this the right move for the Game Awards? And do you think this is the right move going forward for our industry, I guess?
I think yes. Because I think if a game releases a big expansion, you're like, oh, that's a part of a different game, you're just going to throw it out. I think that does a little bit of a disservice, especially when you can have expansions be incredibly innovative on what's already there and add a whole lot of stuff and basically be completely new areas and gameplay and all that sort of stuff. I think the problem with Shadow of the Erdtree going here is you include it into this list, but you don't, like, if you include DLCs, I think you fundamentally need to increase the size of the list. I think 6 games for a Game of the Year conversation, the part of the list that's supposed to encompass all the other ones into one big list, having only 6 categories or 6 games is kind of a slap in the face. Like Infinite Wealth not being here is crazy. I know Despawn mentioned Black Myth Wukong. I think Black Myth Wukong deserves to be there off of the reception of people. Maybe not off of like, if you're viewing it on your own, like, oh, I didn't like that game, I think that's fair. But off of the reception of people, it deserves to be there. But Infinite Wealth deserves to be there off of the quality of game as well. So I think 6 games is like, no matter what you do here, you're going to snub a game that doesn't need to be snubbed if you just add a few more categories.
Isn't that part of an award show though, the snubbing as well?
Yes,
like,
but
it is a part of it. Like, I'm not saying it's a positive part, but it is kind of like,
what's it called? What's the movie awards? The Grammys?
Oscars.
I think it's the Oscars. The Oscars added one of them added more categories after I think it was Dark Knight got snubbed or whatever. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for more games to be put in there, especially when such quality, like this is supposed to be a gaming celebration. And I think when you limit it that way and you add like, oh, more games can be included and you keep it the same size, I think you do the list a disservice.
So what you're saying is not that it shouldn't be 6 games, but when the time calls for it, it should be 7 or 8 games as well. It's not a case of like, because I don't think limiting it, I don't think having 6 games as like the standard is an issue. But I think like when there is an anomaly of like, well, this clearly should be in here, we can just add another one. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying?
No, I think you have to, I think including because you don't choose when expansions get added and when they don't. I think you just increase it to 8 or 10 nominations or whatever you want to do. Whatever they think is fair on the back end, that's up to them to decide.
Production,
I understand that.
That's coming out, Crash.
I get that.
They can't let 10 games.
I get 2 weeks. You think they can't? They're talented, Fix. Pay them a little extra. They don't want to pay them extra. Pay the people.
Hey, pay the people, Craig. I'm with you. I'm with you.
That flute guy can definitely learn an extra 2 songs. He's fine.
He definitely can. And look, I'll say it from my perspective. I think it's wrong. I think the Game Awards, and we've seen how special the Game Awards has become, right? Like we've seen how most developers are emotional and how they get them. The Game Awards and award shows as a whole are not for dum-dums like me, Crash, and Despawn on this podcast. They are for the people who make the games to be rewarded and to be recognized. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends how you want to say it, I guess. But in my opinion, unfortunately, a team has not been recognized here because they've recognized Bandai again.
So I have a question with that. Do you think that then the Shadow of the Erdtree team doesn't deserve to get recognized for their work on the DLC? Because what you're saying is this team that I like deserves to get recognized. That team doesn't deserve to get recognized, which I think is unfair.
No, and I think you're right in what you're saying. I think my issue is that, and again, it's an unfair thing for me to say, but I'm going to say it anyways, because they got recognized last year. They won everything. Like, because they had the best game.
Yeah, before.
Like,
it wasn't long yet.
Sorry, the year
Baldur's
before.
Gate was last year.
Sorry, the year before. And because they deserved it, because they won everything. Like, I feel like if we're going to do this, it needs to be like a separate category, which is hard because there isn't going to be enough good expansion / DLCs that come out in a year to give it a separate category. But
I think you combine the ongoing with expansion category and you make one big category.
Yeah, I'd love that.
I think that makes the most sense, to be honest, because every year, even if you go to ongoing this year and you look at it and you're like, there's games that don't, like, they haven't really done anything to be on this list. Like, they've had updates and stuff like that, but none of the updates are super like noteworthy or anything like that. I think the problem ultimately with like having a list this size and adding expansions is expansions are going to favor like the bigger publishers and community favorites, right? That's why Shadow of the Erdtree's here. It's not that I don't think it deserves to be here, although I do think it was a little bit on the weaker side. You can make the argument it deserves to be here. It feels like it's pandering to the people who are fans of the game as opposed to it rightfully deserving to be here is the problem.
Let's be clear though. Sorry, DC.
That is what
let's be clear though. That's what the Game Awards is.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
It is a gigantic marketing machine for our industry that also has awards tacked onto it where they can sell a bunch of advertisements and get eyeballs on products. Let's not kid ourselves out here. Like, if you want a top line award show, you go to the Golden Joysticks, right? Like those and there are a couple others, Dice Awards as well, I believe.
Dice Awards,
but those are the
Gaming BAFTAs,
yeah.
Thank you. The game, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those three are like the big three. But this, I love Jeff Keighley. I love the Game Awards. I don't watch the other award shows. I get the Cliff Note version and read it on the showcase, on the podcast here, and whatever. And that's not to do them an injustice. It's just because I like the new announcements and the trailers and the glitz and the glam and all that stuff. Like, but yeah, there's a lot of pandering that goes on, and unfortunately, I feel like that is what's happened this year with Erdtree. Erdtree's, I'm sure, a fantastic experience, like you've said, but there's no way you're putting it, for me, there's no way from what I've heard from people I've spoken to, it goes above Like a Dragon.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah. Here's my question. Why this year?
Because it's Elden Ring.
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's Elden Ring this year, and then you had Cyberpunk last year.
Which
was highly regarded as well, and it was an expansion.
Okay, and Joe, what I think it is, that is cynical in me, because it's Elden Ring, and Jeff needs to go to FromSoft. We've done this now. Your next game, you'll announce it here at the Game Awards again. Whether or not I want to believe that or not, I don't know. But that's what's inside me. The cynic inside me is that it's a let me pander to the right people. Of course, let me pander to the right people so I can keep getting the big one. Like, I remember that year the Elden Ring was shown.
Yeah, it was huge.
They had nothing else.
Yeah,
that year it was like if we didn't have Elden Ring, that whole show would have been donezo. So I truly believe it's a level of pandering. I hope I'm wrong. And again, I'd love to have a conversation with Jeff Keighley, or I'd love for him or somebody to have a conversation with Jeff Keighley to really hammer him and go, why did we do it this year? Yeah. And I'm sure the answer will be, well, the industry is ever changing and yada, yada, yada. Well, but my heart says it's pandering.
Well, I guess the question...
Not necessarily in a negative sense, again, because I think it's a case of you got bills to pay as well, mate.
Yeah,
like,
but it is also how do games get short? Like, we know the nominations are like whatever the top nominations are from all of the industry and the small amount of public votes that count as well. But how do those games get initially shortlisted? Is it like an open list that you could just add a game to and say we think this game deserves Game of the Year? Because at the end of the day, it might not be Jeff who's decided this. Well, it is obviously he has the last say. But it might be enough people in the industry have gone, we think that Erdtree deserves to be classed as a Game of the Year contender.
I mean, even then at the end, it still goes down to Jeff because Jeff could just say, no, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Facts.
True.
But I think that probably is the case where a lot of people did put Shadow of the Erdtree up there and they were like, well, this is the best game to come out this year. And it eventually ended up making its way.
Yeah, it's a weird one because, like I say, like it's a slippery slope, right? Because where do you draw the line?
So the problem I had, he does not to cut you off, Fix, but he does add at the end of it where he says there'll be criteria depending on length and all this stuff. It needs to be discussed. That it's not, you can't just put out a DLC that's like 5 minutes long and you get included into it, right? So there is a discussion. Really, there's not really like. There's not a list of like this is what you need.
It doesn't feel like it's a DLC, it's an expansion at this point. It's like, I understand the argument for expansions to be added, but I just think it needs to be with ongoing, like you said. I think that's the best idea. I don't think it should be eligible for Game of the Year. I really don't.
No.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. Like, I think you've done a team like Sega who are been climbing up again, and they were going to have, whether or not they won, and they wouldn't have won, let's be honest, they wouldn't have won. Final Fantasy is going to win this, in my opinion. But they would have had their moment on that screen with that orchestra, with the sizzle reel, and that would have been a real moment of pride for the team. Like, and again, I get what you're saying, Christian. Your rebuttal to it is absolutely right, which is, but FromSoft deserve that as well.
Yeah,
and they do. But I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I'm
also going to play devil's advocate. Technically, and this is a big technically, Like a Dragon games are very much an expansion. Like, they are the same world, and they just build the story within that same world.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to the conversation, if you go back to the conversation on a lot of the benefits like the combat system and the job classes and all that stuff, a lot of that is carried over from the first game. Like, it's not like new, it's not innovative. Not all those classes are brand new as well. So yeah, to feed to that point to despawn, I think this is just like a tricky conversation because everybody wants the game that they want to be on the list to be there.
Yeah,
I think the fairest option.
Where's Pokemon? Let's be honest.
I think the fairest option is to add another 2 games to the category. You mentioning that the orchestra and everything that goes into it, aside from just the nominations, adding more is like a very big deal. It is a lot of work. Yeah,
it's impossible. It's like
you add another like 10 minutes to the showcase for 2 games or whatever, which people already say goes too long.
2.5 hours. We're 2 hours or 2.5 hours, however long it is. Like, we already complain how long it is, and I'm not saying that an extra 10 minutes on the most important awards shouldn't be a thing, but. Yeah, no. Yeah. If you're long and short end for me, no, it shouldn't. And what?
I just want to say, most important awards, I think you'll find the Game of the Year next year that we do is the most important awards.
Yeah, Fix, what the fuck?
You're right. MXAM's Game of the Year Awards, where we do not send a trophy to anybody, is 100%.
Should we send a trophy to someone?
Should we send a trophy to someone?
We should definitely send a trophy to someone.
We can send a trophy to someone.
I mean, I've got PR contacts enough that I could be like, hey, I'm sending your UK office an award for our little dumb podcast.
Congrats.
Congratulations, you won this year.
Send us an acceptance speech.
Oh, I could do... I mean... Yeah. Again, I know what PR is like. They probably have to like run it through so much red tape to get like someone to accept an
that's
award.
their
We
job.
see
That's
what
their
you
job.
guys say about the games before we like give you our speech as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my two bob on it. Anything else you get in touch, please?
So my particular issue with this is like I feel like again, it's the whole like the slippery slope of like what counts, what doesn't, and like what are the criteria. The thing that feels weird for me, not only is it being an expansion on this list, it's the fact that it's an expansion that you've got to put like countless hours in just to be able to access. Whereas like we looked last year with like Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty, it was like you can start that from scratch, play the entire experience as a standalone thing without playing the main game, which I did. I did that as my playthrough, where I rolled it as a fresh character and ran it. Whereas with Erdtree, you've got to get to like one of the end bosses to be able to access the DLC. I think
the difficulty aspect of Erdtree is also like you can't just do what you did in Cyberpunk with Erdtree and have it feel good for the player. I think like a good game design choice, like having somebody be able to start off on Erdtree right away, is a weird choice with how difficulty works in that game. Because you already struggle. Because you already struggle with like fully leveled up weapons and stuff like that in that expansion. So imagine putting somebody brand new with like random gear. They don't really know how to play. They haven't really been in the mentality. They haven't been trying different stuff. Like they're going to get steamrolled by the basic enemies that you meet right away.
But that's because of the difficulty level that they set it at when you go into it. Like, why not just set it as the base level? Like you're fighting the one guard.
Because then the problem is like, okay, you do that. Then what about the people who do have 100 hours that still want to go in and experience that DLC?
Roll a fresh character and, you know.
But now you have the opposite situation. The problem.
Issue. Yeah. You have the Diablo issue that I had where I won't play that again because I have to start a fresh character. Yeah.
So there's always like a problem. I think for the game and the vision they have, they did the best choice. I get what you're saying, and I do think that it's valid to a degree, but I don't think there is a good answer to it.
I think for the experience that Shadow of the Erdtree and Elden Ring and everything that it offers, I think it's the right choice. But I think because of that choice, it makes it even harder for me to feel comfortable with it being on this list.
I think that's kind of irrelevant to the list, no? Because the list is for the quality of the game and not how easy it is for you to get into it. If that's the case, Elden Ring shouldn't have won the year that it won.
Yeah, I agree. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So those games are always like, you guys both played it a little bit and then dropped off.
Whoa. What do you mean play it?
You went back to it later.
Oh, just on the first time?
Yeah, the first time, not like the second time.
Okay.
I beat Elden Ring. What are you talking about? You beat Elden Ring Fix. Yeah, you're right. Did you beat Elden Ring Fix?
End of the year, I'll be it. I'll be it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I said that. That was what I said. I'll be it by the end of the year.
Time's running out, mate. One thing I
want to happily say, Stead, I will happily admit that I will not be beating Persona 5.
I thought you were going to say again, I will be Persona one day.
I will not be Persona 5 by the end of the year. I'm sorry for disrespecting you. And you're correct, Stead. I'm sorry. But I'm beating a lot of other games. I'm beating a lot of other games. Well, I mean, we've already gone 2 hours, so we're not going to be able to do news this week, unfortunately. I wanted to, but we are not going to get there. We'll have to add it for next week, or maybe we'll do an extra. Who knows? Do we have time for a couple of questions? We do a couple real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. Let's do it. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on X @MXAM, #MXAM, or you can hit us up on Blue Sky @myxboxandme. First question comes in and says, is this podcast an Xbox? From Origin Cookie Man. For those who haven't seen this, the Xbox have got their brand new marketing out, which is kind of like, is this an Xbox? Is that an Xbox? And it's everything is on the Xbox ad. We'll probably talk about it more next week, if I'm honest. Yeah. Because there is a conversation I'd like to have around it. But go on.
Did you guys read the article from Jez about that?
No, I haven't yet.
It's a fantastic article. Like, go read it. It kind of like,
I read a Windows Central article. I don't know if it was just this. Is it the one that like sort of questions like the timing of the article of the campaign? Yeah. I read that. It is a very good article. I agree.
Okay, I'll check it out.
This is an Xbox.
It is?
This podcast is an Xbox.
Oh. Okay. we're an Xbox.
So play your games here.
Yeah, you can play games with us.
Fair enough. Next up, Tarentura says, I was listening to someone compare their experience with the PlayStation 5 Pro to a regular PlayStation, and they were basically saying that the upgraded games played like how we would expect a console game to play. That is just start the game and it plays at one setting without having to choose between quality or performance. Do you think the PlayStation 5 Pro highlights an issue with this generation of consoles? No.
Yes. I feel like it kind of did, like, because the issue is like you want the best quality or you want the best performance, and it's like you have to make a middle ground choice. When if we're talking specifically console,
of course,
like,
that's what the
correct
conversation-
yeah, go on.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That started last generation.
Yes,
Where
it
you
did.
pick like fidelity.
Yeah, actually,
that
yeah,
is
no.
just like that is
That's
just
just
a
an ongoing
gaming
thing
thing
now.
now.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem necessarily.
Well, technically,
think,
it isn't anymore, is what Trentus is saying.
Yeah, it
because...
is. I think it's the Pro of the PS5 Pro or whatever. I don't think it's. I get it. I just think fundamentally, like, it's a little bit different. But I do think
the Pro solves an issue from the last couple of generations. Of being like,
yeah, but
because
they
the whole
basically
thing was
saying that upgraded games play how we would expect a console game to play.
Yeah.
But that is how I expect a console game to play. I play a game.
That's the thing.
Ask me now if I want graphics or if I want fidelity. That's what I expect.
yeah.
I think it's a dated mindset, which is like, I just want to plug and play and not have to pick that setting. I think most people who play modern games on console, like, that is just their regular. They're like, okay, I'm going to play performance because I like performance. I'm going to play quality because I prefer quality.
Gameplay's been a lie since we went to the internet generation. Like, how many times you log in into a console and it's like, oh, this game's not updated.
Yeah.
Well, technically, you can't plug and play. Like, that's been gone for years. You can't get a new game and like put the disc in and boom, you play. That just doesn't exist anymore. I agree. It's just an old way of thinking, in my opinion. Like, it's just not. I don't think we should champion the Pro because it takes away a choice for the price of $700.
I think you look at it as a feature for that $700, not sort of like a positive to a negative. It's just sort of a benefit, right?
For $700, I don't think the base. I better not have to pick. Jesus,
I'm gonna say
like, I don't think it. I don't think it does highlight an issue because I don't see it as an issue. I see it as just a choice. I feel like that's what the world is becoming more of. If just like you pick and choose what you like and what you don't like. If you are somebody who doesn't like having choices, having to pick between fidelity or frame rate, then you should buy a PlayStation 5 Pro.
You should buy a PC.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that conversation. No. Stop, bro. Dragon Age just crashed on me 100 times. No.
Yeah, that's a you issue.
Is it not? Is it a PC?
It's your
people
PC
like
issue.
we're not going to act like people don't have PC game issues.
Is it
Despawn, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
We're not. No, it's fine.
Next up, we got from Big Willie P. With relatively unknown sale figures of the PlayStation 5 Pro, do you think console gamers are hitting a wall with raw power, being the selling point of a system? If so, what do you have to sell them on the next console? If not, will Xbox just continue to stay in last place if they're continuing to try to be the quote most powerful console?
Well,
ecosystems, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox have stopped saying the most powerful console since about 2 years in. It is very much ecosystem. We just talked about it. Everything is an Xbox. Like, that is the selling point.
Podcast is an Xbox.
Yeah, my eyebrows are an Xbox. Everything is an Xbox. Like, it is very much the whole, like, play anywhere being the mantra now. It's like, that's going to be the next thing. If, like, you buy a game once, you can play it in whatever capacity you want to play it. Whether that be cloud, PC, console, handheld, mobile, it doesn't matter. Like, that'll be the future of gaming. And I think that's the future that Xbox are obviously betting on. I also don't think... Go on.
If we're being real, I don't think raw power has ever been the selling point of a console. If you look back to PS3 360 generation.
Yeah.
The 360 one for how long of that generation? The PS3 ended up catching up to the 360 off of games, not off of the power that was on the system. And that's continued to be the case even now.
If that was the case, the Series X at launch would have been the best selling console.
Yeah. So from generation to generation, as an argument for upgrades, sure, power is relevant, but even then, people are probably going to stick to their ecosystem. And then if they really are that tied up about like the power of their console or whatever, they're going to switch to PC. That's why most people go to PC at some point. I want to play 4K 120 frames or whatever the case is. They'll go to PC. I think power in console has always been an illusion made by developers that or not developers, but like Sony or Xbox who want to sell their consoles. Here's 8K.
Marketing.
It's just BS essentially.
Like the 0.01% of people who listen to this podcast, right? Like the top 1% of people, we understand teraflops and RAM, but the other 99%, probably my muster off there. But the other 99% of people don't give a crap. They care that their ecosystem, the thing they are buying is their ecosystem. What Xbox are banking on for the next console is they want someone who has been playing on their laptop games via Game Pass, and they've gone, I would really like to play games also in my living room, so I'm going to pick up an Xbox as well. And then, I'm now on the train and I can play games there. And that is what Xbox is. They've said it now in this new marketing. That is what they are selling you. They are selling you the ecosystem of what Xbox is. It is no longer about one plastic box in your living room.
Just one thing on Big Blue. I do feel like we are hitting a wall on raw power in general. I think like 4K 60 for console gaming, I feel like diminishing returns at this point.
4K 60 is not enough though, because we're not even getting that consistently.
No, but what I'm saying is like the next generation will like you've got to imagine it's going to be like consistent 4K 60. At that point, we are like diminishing returns. Like above that, like you are talking PC specs.
It's also a point where graphics aren't going to power is going to be such a hard thing to measure because we've done it so far with just graphics, how good a game looks. And that we're getting to a point with graphics where like one game might look better, but like neither of the games look bad. So it's kind of an irrelevant situation. It's how you utilize that power in other situations. And I don't think that'll ever be a selling point for a console because those other utilizations won't really be selling, right? This game's able to utilize these different gameplay systems because it has more power. You can't sell a system off of more computing power in that regard. You used to be able to really do it easily off of graphics. And I think that's becoming harder and harder to sell from that angle.
I think Xbox is just going to try and sell you a console in terms of like, it can do this, this, and this, and you get your games and Game Pass. Buy it if you want.
Yep.
It's simple. That's going to be their selling point for it now.
That's what that ad was to me. It was you can get a console.
Yeah. You don't have to get a console. You can just play it on your smart TV and cloud.
Realistically, unless we get sent one for review here at MXAM, I don't think I'll be picking up the next Xbox.
I think I'm with you.
And again, I know my privilege. Please, I understand. I'm not out of touch. I'm just telling you my experience. Like, I've got 2 gaming PCs in this house and a gaming laptop and an iPhone 16, whatever it is. Like, why do I need to buy a console anymore? Unless it comes down to the fact of like, I want to play games in my bedroom, on my bed, or downstairs in the living room, which I just don't do anymore.
Yeah.
Why would I buy it? I'm not saying Haley might end up getting an Xbox and I might end up using it, but me personally, I don't think we need. Right now, we have 2 Xboxes, Series X's in the house. We don't need to.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like once upon a time, you needed 2 360s. You know, like if you wanted to, you didn't want to play split screen Gears. You wanted to play. You got your TV, I got my TV, and we're doing this. Like, I just don't think you need that anymore. Like I can set Haley up on even her laptop doing cloud, and probably would be good enough for her.
Yeah.
For like experience with us playing together. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting time though when the next console does come around. I will say that for sure. Let's do 2 more questions and then we'll get out of here. Top Lift 91 says, given some of the questions around Phil Spencer's recent interview, my question is, other than for Game Pass, is there any reason to own an Xbox? Jeez, everyone went the same questions this week, didn't they? Is there even any reason to own an Xbox anymore if the games are going to be available on other platforms?
Okay. So did we talk on this last week, or was this one of the things we didn't talk on this week? But yeah, basically, Phil mentioning that, there's no red line anymore for what games could appear everywhere else.
That was last week, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we already answered this. Not really a reason to own one anymore, is it? Like, there is countless ways to get access to the ecosystem.
If we're looking also, like, if we just look at, like, console manufacturers, be it PlayStation, Nintendo, or Microsoft, the biggest profit to those systems has always been software. It is not hardware. You get more off of selling software than hardware. So as far as Microsoft's concerned, my guess would be they view their PC as a console. You bought a game on PC, they're like, cool, we got another game sale. They don't care, asterisks, that's a PC sale. They don't care, that's a mobile sale. It's a game sale. It's a game sale to them. So I think no, but also, like, according to Microsoft, and I think I'd make the argument, if you own a PC, you own an Xbox, regardless of whether you utilize it or not. Yeah, as far as Microsoft's concerned.
If you own a Samsung TV, you own an Xbox. Yeah, if you own a Fire Stick, you own it. That's the whole point of the goddamn ad they just put out.
Yeah, I think the problem is again, because of the position we're in, we are very touched in on, like, all of the different facets of gaming. The majority is like, what's the next console? So there is still going to be a huge market for people to buy a like they've already come out and said there's going to be another console, and they're working on that already. But, like, so I think the question is, though, do they need to own an Xbox console? Theoretically, no, not anymore.
Well, it depends.
Ecosystem.
Do you own a PC?
Yeah. Also, do you like to play that on your living room? Do you sit down at your living room and play games? And do you like the Xbox ecosystem? Then you'll buy the next system because you want a more powerful system that you can play in your living room.
Do you like the Xbox dashboard? Do you like the Xbox store? Do you like Game Pass? Do you like cloud? Do you like? It's not just down to the console. I get like I think it's very unfair to ask, and not in a mean way, Top Left, but like, is there any other reason other than Game Pass? But Game Pass has been the whole reason to own Xbox for the last 2 generations. Like, I
also want to say, if you want to buy something for Game Pass, the best option for Game Pass is on PC. It's not on console.
And cheaper.
Yep. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't know. If games are going to be on other platforms, again, do you like games day one? Do you? And I think that's where we're moving to now, aren't we? Like, there's not been a game that's come out yet. I know Doom will be, but there hasn't been a game, unless you can correct me if I'm wrong, and it's a first party title that's come out day and date with Xbox and other consoles. It hasn't yet, right?
Not yet.
Like, even indie's coming out. We know it's going to be pretty quick afterwards.
6 months,
Still, is that enough time for you to want to be first? You know, the reason why people play on PC, right, is early access a lot of the time and stuff. Like, they get to play the Daisies or the Rusts and stuff like that. They don't have to wait 6 months to a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. Like, they get to play it instantly in early access. I'm not saying this is an early access talk, but if you want to play things first, you're going to go on those systems and play them first. Like, we all know that a lot of PlayStation games are now coming to PC, but you're still going to catch me buying a PlayStation next generation because I'm not going to want to wait 6 months for Last of Us 3 or whatever it may be. Like, so yeah, I think there's definitely reasons to still own it, which is like availability in terms of like getting things first and obviously your library and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to point out, like, consumer friendly wise, like, Microsoft has the best approach to it. Our games are going everywhere that makes sense for them. Buy it on one of those platforms. We're not going to limit you to, like, you can't get PC, you can't whatever the case is. It's like, buy it wherever we're available, which for them is very literal. I think if they could put it on PlayStation day one and they could work out a good deal, Microsoft would be more than happy to do that as well, because it would make sense for them with the way they're building their business out. Isn't like, it's more symbiotic than it is predatory, where it's like Microsoft and Sony were competing a lot more before. I don't think that same competition exists with the way Microsoft is going. It does to a degree, but it's not how it was before.
Yeah,
Agreed.
we've had that conversation in the past where like even Xbox have come out and directly said that they don't view Sony as the competition anymore. They view people like Netflix, the ecosystems, they're like the subscription services are the competition now. It's like, yeah, hardware and software manufacturers, not really.
All right, so we move on to our last question, and then we get out of it, boys. A Wild Army Enter says, if you could pick a DLC to win Game of the Year, which would it be? This could be a DLC from any year for whatever game if you want. If you do pick one for a year, do you think it's better than what was picked as Game of the Year? Crash?
Ooh, the only DLC that comes to mind right now is Phantom Liberty, and I don't think it would win because that is Boulder Gate's year.
At the same fall.
What came out with Blood and Wine?
Can I look it up
Blood
for you?
and Wine would have been 2015.
Was it a Game Awards? Yeah.
Yeah, that was
first year, yeah.
And that would have been damn, I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up for me. I mean, the ones that come to mind for me would be Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmares.
So,
go on, Nick.
Blood and Wine. When did Blood and Wine come out in 2015? Because it says here that the Game of the Year was Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Okay.
So yes, it would have won.
It released 2016, so 2016.
Okay. 2016.
All right, let me look. 2016 was Overwatch. Yeah, it would definitely be.
Yeah, I think 2016 was Overwatch, Titanfall 2, Doom, Uncharted 4, and Inside. I'd put that above all of those, I think.
Inside was so good.
It was good.
I think the thing that comes to mind for me is Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmares. That was amazing. Shout out Tiny Tina, obviously one of the best DLCs I've ever played.
So I'm going to do the
GTA
research.
4 had a lot of good DLCs as well.
Oh, Battle of Gay Tony and Lost and Damned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were good. Last of Us Left Behind. I know that was pretty good. People enjoyed that a lot.
I have a question. Spider-Man Miles Morales, would you count that as DLC? I wouldn't.
Separate game.
No,
it's
a
not,
separate
right?
game. Yeah. You didn't buy it as an add-on, so.
Yeah. But no, I don't think any of the games I just mentioned would have won the Game of the Year they came out.
Yeah. Red Dead Redemption won the Game of the Year because obviously Undead Nightmare released in the same year.
Oh, well, then perfect. I won.
So, yeah, so you win. Yeah. It would have won, yeah, because it did.
It did win.
I mean, it didn't win.
No, yeah.
The base game won.
Base game won, yeah. Yeah, no, my initial thought was Phantom Liberty. And no, it wouldn't have won. Like, if
I think Phantom Liberty is the best expansion I've played, but I don't think it wins Game of the Year that year.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 5's DLC come out. Lost Nightmares. When did that drop? That came out.
You tell me when that came out, and I'll tell you what was Game of the Year.
Lost Nightmares came out in 2010.
Oh, then Red Dead Redemption.
Was 2010? Yeah, it wasn't as good as that, unfortunately. Not as good as that, but it was pretty damn good, the DLC. One of my favorites. All right, let's plug, get ourselves out of it, boys. Crash, we'll start with you. We got to plug, man.
Podcast reviews. Remember, leave your podcast reviews. I don't recall. Let me see real quick if we have podcast reviews, but I don't know if we do. If we don't, and even if we do, I want you to find a random person on the street, tell them you really urgently need to make a phone call, take the phone, and leave a review.
And then kick him down the stairs.
Yeah, then kick him down the stairs.
You don't have to. I mean, you left the review. You can choose to kick them down the stairs afterwards if you want. You might have to drag them to a pair of stairs because in my senorio, in my head, you met them on the street. But if there's stairs nearby,
just stand right there and ask people. Wonder how that seems like a social experiment I should do.
What?
Push people down the stairs?
Like, no, not the stairs part, but how many people do you reckon I could get to review my podcast?
Interesting. I can tell you in New York, you wouldn't get very many.
No?
No, I don't think so.
No, New York can be like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. D-Spawn, what you got to plug?
I'm gonna do a Matt, and I'm gonna plug something that he would have plugged. The Golden Joystick Awards are happening this week. I am working them from my home, so yeah. But check them out for if you like an award show. Hosted by Ben Starr,
I met him.
the internet's favorite. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. Looks like it's going to be a good one. With some meetings this week, so yeah, very excited for all the work the team are doing. So yeah, go check that out. And keep an eye on the socials for future, because, you know, somebody's making some shorts. This guy.
I'm not making sure. What are you talking about? Oh, you.
This
Oh,
guy.
my bad.
I thought you were
yeah.
smiling. Like,
What should I promote? I don't know. Find me on Blue Sky. MC Fixer. Go follow me on Blue Sky. Try and get my Blue Sky followers up. You know.
I'm gonna start using Blue Sky.
I
have an account. I haven't used it yet.
You don't use social media.
I don't.
Say, yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, I should use. I have moments where I'm like, I should really like tweet about this or something like that, and I'm just like, I don't feel like it. It's a hassle, and then I don't.
Hey, Blue Sky's perfect for that. Everyone seems to be great.
I agree.
Like it's very. It's like the old days of Twitter where everyone just posted their thoughts and everyone was like, "That's a cool thought."
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And if someone says it's not a cool thought, you can block them and it works.
I will say I have seen the more people have been moving over to Blue Sky, I've seen sort of a little bit of the toxicity start to seep in, but it's not very much, and it gets drowned out a lot very fast.
Depends who you're following as well, right?
I think I don't follow enough people right now.
I had that moment of like, oh, I'm not going to follow people. I'm too cool for that. And I was like, you know what? Hell no. I'm following everyone. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I'm just following people for the sake of it at the moment. But yeah, go follow me on Blue Sky.
Yeah, follow us all on Blue Sky.
Do it. Until next time. Well, love you. Leave you. See you later. Good boy.